All right, we got the usual buildup around the loop downtown, specifically northbound 65 up to the 24 split, then northbound 65 up to the south loop downtown. Eastbound 440, brake tapping starting there before you get to 24. And then, of course, eastbound 24, the slowest right now I see is going to be over there on the east loop going eastbound and then past the 440 interchange. Pretty slow going there down to about Bell Road. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, the Matt Murphy Show, underway for another day. It's Tuesday, July 8, 2025. Hello, friends. It's day 169 of the Trump presidency, part 2. That's out of 1,460.5 days. I'll die on that hill. It's episode 837 of our proceedings together, and we thank you for it. Those of you who have been with us for every single one of them, God bless you. I owe you a bottle of water and an ink pen used by me. We're on a variety of different platforms. You can find us on 99.7 FM on your radio dial. We're also on Spotify, iHeart, TuneIn, all manner of apps. If there is an app that streams music or news or information or whatever, it streams us. And if it doesn't, let us know, and we'll get it there. We have our own app, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And then, of course, there's Talk TV. On the Talk TV side, you can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. And by the way, perhaps as early as before this show is done, we have a Rumble announcement. Many of you have been waiting on the Rumble announcement, and I perhaps have the Rumble announcement. I have a precursor to the Rumble announcement. I cannot release. It's an embargoed. You know, Ken, you get embargoed things all the time back there in the newsroom, don't you?
I do, Brother Murphy.
I mean, these folks, they send you things, and they say, hey, we want you to know this, but you can't say anything about this until we tell you can say something about it.
Right.
Well,
I usually comply.
Usually. I have well, they didn't on that Superman review. How about that? You heard about that?
Yeah, I did.
Everybody crapping on that.
I'm not going to watch it, dude.
Are you?
Nope.
No, I mean.
Not going to do it.
I just, I wanted it to be good.
I do too.
I wanted to be good. That's my childhood.
Yeah.
Superman 2, that's my childhood. Even Superman 3 with Richard Pryor. I'm in. I'm all in. Richard Pryor's a computer programmer? Oh, yeah. Now Superman 4 can go to hell. Because that's when they started getting preachy.
Is that the one where he fought Jaws?
No, he fought that electric guy. He was a guy that was powered by the sun or something or another that Lex Luthor had created. Yeah, that was the one. That was the one where Superman decided he was going to destroy all the nuclear weapons.
Oh, okay.
He threw him into the sun. And then out of that, Lex Luthor had put like something on one of the missiles. And when he threw all of the nukes into the sun to get rid of the world's nukes, because, Superman's such a damn do-gooder, then out of that, the bad guy flew out of the sun and almost killed Superman. So
man,
I know.
That dude's pretty tough. He can fly out of the sun.
Well, I'm just telling you. That was the story. And now we several movie reviewers have had an opportunity to review Superman. And if you've not heard, I know that it's been talked about all day on this radio station. It apparently sucks.
Yeah, that's what I'm gathering.
Well, and why, if you're James Gunn, why would you, in advance of the movie coming out, say, hey, this isn't for half of the American population?
Yeah, what a moron.
I mean, I don't, this is, yeah, we're sending a message. We're sending a message to all you Trump supporters that you're all bigots and nasty people and xenophobes and you don't like people from other, shut up. Just shut up and make a movie that's entertaining, please. Yeah. Good gracious.
Yeah, I will not be watching it.
Nah.
That's all I needed was to hear that moron.
It's sad because.
But I knew it. I knew it was going to be like that.
Let me tell you, when I was a boy, the Superman came out. I guess it came out in '78, I want to say, the original movie with Christopher Reeve as the Caped Crusader. And my grandmother got my grandfather to agree to get HBO and Cinemax in maybe 80, 81, something around that.
Oh, that was a good time.
And I remember like a month after we got Cinemax, they monthly you would get these viewing guides where it would tell you what was on. They would come in the mail. It was like a TV guide for HBO and Cinemax, and it would tell you what's coming on. And in the back of the viewing guide, it would tell you, hey, coming next month to HBO and Cinemax, we've got this movie and this movie.
Yeah.
And I remember like it was yesterday, sitting in my grandparents' living room and just staring at that picture of Superman, thinking, I'm going to get, because we didn't go to the movies, ever.
Right.
We're too poor for the movies. But I get to watch Superman next month.
Yeah.
I was so excited. And I watched it every time it came on, boy. I was right there sitting there I was all in. I didn't think Lois Lane was pretty enough when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I thought she should be prettier. Now she looks so much prettier now than she did to me back then. I don't know.
The Lois Lane back in the TV series in the 60s, she was not pretty.
And that one, even Margot Ritter, I guess her name was.
Like that. Margot something.
Yeah, I thought Superman deserved better. I really do. I thought he deserved more of a Dolly Parton-esque.
Should have had Raquel Welch.
Says everybody. I mean, absolutely. 100%.
I bet you Jackson would agree with that.
Jackson, you know who Raquel Welch is?
No idea.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
Yeah, he'll figure it out.
What's that chick you kids like these days with the toe thumbs? What's her name?
Toe thumbs?
Yeah, she's got toe thumbs. Y'all know who I'm talking about. She's got toe thumbs.
I got to look that up.
What's the chick? There's some hot chick. Now, she's not actually from like this era. She's like 20 years gone by now. But there's a chick that everybody loved that everybody said had toe thumbs. Talk to me, Weaver.
The hot chick with toe thumbs refers to actress Megan Fox.
Boom! Megan Fox, toe thumbs.
I do not think she has toe thumbs.
Well, have you looked at her thumbs?
No.
You're typically not looking at her thumbs, are you?
Not even a little.
Take a gander. Stop what you're doing, you little lech, and take a gander at her thumbs, and you tell me. Toe thumbs.
I'm terrified to type in Megan Fox thumbs onto the work computer.
Couldn't be any worse than yesterday. We had you all over the joint
Brother
yesterday.
Jackson, you've already been on this show for more than 2 days. Brother, if you're still here,
we talked about getting laid.
Good.
We talked about getting laid yesterday. What are you talking about?
In under 2.5 minutes.
For those that don't know, I received a lovely gift of a Hawaiian lei, and it was presented to me on air, and I adorned it on air.
Yeah, adorned.
Ergo, I got laid.
What's called in rural Georgia a Matt Murphy special.
Mm-hmm. Any minute now, turning our attention to more serious matters, which is where I was trying to go. So any minute now, the governor of Texas, Governor Abbott, is going to give us an update on the flooding situation. We're going to try to join that live. You got it over there? We're going to try to join that live. I apologize for screaming at you earlier. I was under duress. I blame the drugs that I'm not on anymore. We've got that live, and we're going to carry some of that. We will jip it, as they say, join in progress live as the governor takes to the podium to update us on the horrific disaster that was the flooding. A couple of guests to tell you about today. Johnny Garrett, speaking of embargoed announcements, Johnny Garrett made the announcement that he is running for the 6th Congressional District for Congress of the United States of America. Johnny Garrett, state representative, will be running in the seat being vacated by John Rose because John Rose is running for governor and he can't run for both. So Garrett is throwing his hat into that ring. At 5:05, we're going to follow up with the conversation that Dan Mandis had this morning with Lee Reeves. I know Lee was on with Dan. Great interview by Dan. Lee's going to call us at about 5:05 just to, for those who missed it, let you know that he is running for the 7th Congressional District seat, which is going to be a special election. Now, the 6th Congressional District, that's happening next year.
Yeah, that'll be that
kind of a normal.
Yeah, Congressman Rose gets to finish out his term.
Right.
So it'll just be part of the regular election process.
Right. Johnny getting ahead of that. And so, yeah, that's the regular process. So that's not an expedited deal.
No.
So that is his announcement is just, it's pretty normal that they'll announce about a year in advance of the primaries and whatnot. And that's what's going on there. That 7th congressional race, though, boy, man, that's a lot. How many we got? So let me see if I got them all. We got Jody Barrett.
Got 5 Republicans.
Okay, I got Jody Barrett, Matt Van Epps, what is his name? Jay Reedy.
Jay Reedy.
Lee Reeves.
Lee Reeves.
I don't have the 5th one.
It's Army veteran. Let's see here.
That's Van Epps. Is that Van Epps?
No, that's not Van Epps. The U.S. Army veteran Jonathan Thorpe.
Oh, Jonathan Thorpe.
And then Montgomery County Commissioner Jason Knight.
Wow. So now we got 6.
We got 5. No, wait a minute. That is 6. I've been saying 5 all day.
Thorpe, Knight, Reeves, Barrett, Van Epps, Reedy. 6.
Son of a biscuit.
And then, Ken, that's not all. We got some Democrats getting in there, baby. How about that? Afton Ben, the cutest little communist in Tennessee, is running for a congressional seat. That is just delightful. Hey, Jackson, go ahead and get on that. Get Afton on the show, would you? Just give her I've got her number. You can give her a call. Get Bell to text her. He's buddies with her. I thought it was my lovely personality that led Afton to want to come on the show. I've had her on the show before when I was on from noon until 3. And apparently it was not. Apparently it was all Bell because now she won't come on my show anymore. She'll go on Chad's show. Was
this the person that went viral?
Yeah, for trying to out the ICE agents. That one?
No, like you went viral with.
Nah, that was Heidi. That was Heidi Campbell.
That was another
Democrat.
I remember seeing that on my feed and it was from not a local account. And I was like, wait, is that Murphy?
Yeah, that was, I had Heidi on the show and I told Heidi to stop lying to people. And she said that she wouldn't sit there and be called a liar. And I said, well, you can leave because I'm not going to stop calling you a liar because you are. And she left.
She left?
Yeah, I mean, she's welcome back. They're all welcome. And that leads me to this. So we're going to discuss, and we'll probably have to shift gears if the governor steps to the podium because I want to cover that. But we will be discussing today the lies that are being told by Democrats in the United States of America and right here in the state of Tennessee regarding Medicaid. What is Medicaid? What is Medicaid? What is Medicare? What are the differences? What was the original design of these programs? And how have these programs been exploited by not only individuals that do not deserve these entitlement benefits, but more often than not, politicians that are looking to exploit these benefits for their own political gain? How have they perverted the Medicaid system? Primarily, we'll discuss Medicaid, not Medicare, over the years to their own political advantage and to the disadvantage of the people that actually need it because they're spreading the money thin. Well, Democrats are now trying to make hay while the sun shines with regard to what they call Medicaid cuts by suggesting that millions of people are going to be booted off the healthcare system, to which I say, yeah, right, exactly, 100%. It's what should happen. There are millions of people, sadly, on the Medicaid system that ought not to be there because they do not meet what ought to be stringent qualifications for free medical care. That is an ultimate safety net that we provide in American society. That said, Gloria Johnson, who is a state representative out of the Knoxville area, went online to admonish Congressman Tim Burchett and to demand that he accept her premise that 30,000 in his district are going to be without medical care and perhaps millions across the state of Tennessee, and hospitals are going to close and people are going to die as a result of the awful, what was called Big Beautiful Bill that we're now calling the BBL, the Big Beautiful Law. A lot of it is fear-mongering. It is bathed in erroneous information. But that said, because she called out Burchett by name, I made an offering on my social media platform at the X Machine, at Matt Murphy Show. Find me over there. It's a cesspool. Just awful. Just awful. But if you go over there at Matt Murphy Show, you'll see that I have invited Gloria and Tim to come on the show together. I will moderate a discussion, not even a debate, a discussion about Medicaid in Tennessee. Tim Burchett was on the show yesterday, and we invited Tim to take part in this, and he agreed. Now, he agreed with the understanding that the likelihood of Gloria agreeing to this is probably next to zero, but I am going to sweeten the pot. I have invited repeatedly Gloria Johnson to be on this show, and she has declined, despite the fact that she claims that she'll talk to anybody about anything anywhere. And it's not true. It's another lie. So I don't anticipate that Gloria would be willing to come on the air and defend herself without some sort of incentive. And no, we're not talking about snacks. But I do have a monetary incentive for Gloria, and I will share it with you next on the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy talking about Nashville Safe House. We need to protect our loved ones and protect our property, folks. Sadly, crime in and around the Nashville area is on the rise. We see it on a daily basis on the nightly news, and we need to do something about it to protect ourselves, because when seconds matter, the police are often minutes away. That's not a knock on them. It's just a fact. And so in order to protect yourself, you need to have those things at the ready that do just that. And I would encourage you to protect those things with a safe from Nashville Safe House. That's what it's all about, right? Whether it's Browning or Fort Knox or Superior, whatever size. If you've got young ones and you want a biometric to go by the bedside, they've got those as well at Nashville Safe House. They have a better selection than you can, really frankly, than you can comprehend at Nashville Safe House. It's difficult to imagine, because once you go through and you see all the safes in the showroom, know that they have 2 times as many in their warehouse. That's right. They've got a safe that's right for you, of all shapes and sizes. NashvilleSafehouse.com to peruse online. That's NashvilleSafehouse.com. But better yet, see them for yourself. See Mark and the team on 4th Avenue South at Nashville Safe House.
Another Supreme Court victory for the Trump administration's agenda. This story and more at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Oh, man, did you see the numbers behind that Supreme Court decision, Ken?
I did not. I haven't seen that yet.
8-1.
8-1?
Guess who the dissent was? Just take a wild stab.
Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Ketanji Brown Jackson, who does not, guys, it is, our Constitution's not perfect. And our system of government is not perfect. It's the greatest thing going on God's green earth, but it is not perfect. But let me tell you something. If you want a great example of the imperfections of our system, Ketanji Brown Jackson is one. Because this woman regularly demonstrates. Look, I don't agree with Sotomayor. I don't agree with Kagan. I don't agree with a hell of a lot that Coney Barrett has to say within her rulings. But I do have a belief that they have an understanding of the Constitution of the United States. Ketanji Brown Jackson, at least as far as I have read in this ruling, she didn't even understand the issue before the court. And Sotomayor, in her concurring opinion, tried to school her on it. And she still dissented because they read this stuff before it comes out.
She's going off pure emotion.
It's
and
embarrassing.
her own personal beliefs.
I mean, it really is embarrassing. It's what happens when you pre-decide, if you're the president of the United States of America, that you're going to exclude 94% of the population before you even make a decision. And by the way, plenty of good options in that final 6%, but too many of them were Republican or conservative.
Yeah.
It is fascinating.
Wow.
So we'll give you some of the details on that coming up in just a couple of minutes right after the news. I don't want to get in front of Ken Weaver's newscast. But, yeah, 8-1 decision. Ketanji Brown Jackson, the lone dissent.
I'm surprised by that. I mean, not by her, but I'm surprised that Kagan and Sonia Sotomayor didn't find some reason.
It's a basic issue, as I understand it, of separation of powers. That the executive, the chief executive of the executive branch is the president, and he obviously has hiring and firing authority within his executive branch. Now, he can't wholesale restructure departments that have been authorized by Congress. Now, he can fire people.
Right.
But he can't, quote unquote, eliminate those departments. He can absorb them into other things. The bottom line is this. Donald Trump wants to streamline government, wants to fire a number of federal government employees, and Ketanji Brown Jackson, amazingly, is arguing that the president of the United States doesn't have the authority to do that, which is just, it's no better way of putting it. It's just dumb. It's just dumb. It's just a functional misunderstanding of the Constitution of the United States of America.
She wrote 15 pages on it.
We can, when it's time for Betty Bye, we can read them. Should be a lot of fun. Real quick, the offer before Gloria Johnson. I want to get this out before Ken's news. Because, thank you. Was that me?
Sorry about that, boys.
Did I belch? I'm sorry. Here's what I'll do, because I don't believe y'all get this message out to Gloria on the X machine. She's on there all the time. I think it's at Gloria J or something or another. That I am offering. Tim Burchett has agreed to appear on the show with Gloria Johnson to talk about Medicaid. If Gloria Johnson agrees to come on this radio show at a time that will be decided at some point down the road, I will give $1,000 to any non-political charity of Gloria Johnson's choosing. That is an offer being made by me today to Gloria Johnson. $1,000 to any, and I get to decide if it's non-political or not. I mean, you can go animal-based charity, cancer charity, any number of medical charities. I'm not giving money to the Democrats, okay? So any non-political charity of your choosing, I will donate in your name $1,000. All you have to do is come and be on this show for an hour and talk with Tim Burchett about Medicaid. That's all you have to do. All right? So y'all get the word out to Gloria. It's time to put up or shut up, biggin. It is time to go. $1,000. You think you know so much about Medicaid. You think you know so much about the federal government. Just come on the show, and I'll give $1,000 to any non-political charity of your choosing. It's time for the news on Super Talk.
3:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Looking at radar, West Nashville getting some very heavy rain right now. Seeing a little bit of lightning back over by Dixon as this line of showers and thunderstorms starts to move into the downtown area here. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. U.S. Supreme Court allowing President Trump to move forward with an executive order mandating a restructure of federal agencies and mass layoffs of federal workers. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, the sole dissent in the matter. In a 15-page opinion, the junior justice called the decision, quote, not only truly unfortunate, but also hubristic and senseless. Reports say the death toll now is 109 in the Texas flood. And President Trump says he'll be visiting the region on Friday.
We don't want to get in anyone's way because, that's what happens. The president goes and everyone's around focused on. I don't want anyone to focus on us.
Officials say they've searched 26 river miles since the 4th of July flood. They've had approximately 444 rescues and 30 recoveries. But again, 109 deaths, and there's people still missing. Trump administration says it's canceling contracts with foreign entities they consider adversaries when it comes to U.S. farmland. This is Ag Secretary Brooke Rollins.
Actively engaging at every level of government to take swift legislative and executive action to ban the purchase of American farmland by Chinese nationals and other foreign adversaries.
And right now in Tennessee, the field of candidates announcing they intend to run to replace retiring Congressman Mark Green is growing. This is Franklin Republican State Rep Lee Reeves with WTN's Dan Mandis this morning.
Would you have voted for the big, beautiful bill?
I sure would have.
Okay.
I sure would have.
Reeves is among 5 other Republicans to announce. Dixon State Rep Jody Barrett, Aaron State Rep Jay Reedy, Montgomery County Commissioner Jason Knight, former Tennessee General Services Commissioner Matt Van Epps, and U.S. Army veteran Jonathan Thorpe. 2 Democrats say they intend to run. That'd be Bo Mitchell and Afton Ben, state reps here in Nashville. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, still seeing the buildup of traffic heading home, and it is evident if you are northbound 65 up to the South Loop downtown. That really starts to back up the closer you get. Not as bad as we were last half hour going eastbound 440 over to 24, but then 24 eastbound from 440. That is some significant delay right now. So is northbound 65 up to 24 north of downtown, and then the East Loop going eastbound downtown is bumper to bumper. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy, the Tennessee Men's Clinic, is here for you gentlemen that have found that you are low energy, low motivation, low drive. Let's talk about this for a moment, because there is a solution that is as simple as an appointment with the Tennessee Men's Clinic, either in their Cool Springs location or Midtown. They've been here for over 14 years and counting, helping men just like you. Literally thousands of men have walked out satisfied that they can perform again, whether it's bedroom performance, which can impact relationships significantly, or simply the energy that you are accustomed to. If you've noticed a downslide in that energy level, it's time to call one of the qualified urologists at Tennessee Men's Clinic. Same-day results on the appointment where you go and you give a little blood work, you get examined by your urologist, and then they will have a plan of action for you. Call today at 615-208-9090, 208-9090, or online, TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Thank you for being around. We've got a lot of news going on today. We'll get to the Epstein files. We'll follow up on the Medicaid discussion and my offer to Gloria Johnson to come on the show to discuss. But right now, Governor Greg Abbott is in Texas updating us on the flood response, the disastrous flooding that's happened there. Let's go live to that press conference right now.
We were able to process that better day today when we flew around. And on that fly around today, I had with me the Speaker of the House, Dustin Burrows, who's going to speak after myself. I want to provide you with some information, some of which is just now updated. First, the numbers that I have is that there are 94 fatalities. 94 fatalities associated with this flooding event in this area. Separate from that, in other flooding events in other parts of the state of Texas, there's another 15 fatalities for a total of 109. To put this into perspective, just in the Kerr and Kendall counties alone, there are far more fatalities than there were in Hurricane Harvey. That's how catastrophic this is. I also have some updated numbers on those who are missing. First, from Camp Mystic. My information is those who are missing is down to now 5 campers and 1 counselor. 5 campers and 1 counselor missing. In addition to that, there is another child not associated with the camp who is missing. So for Kerr County, that would be a total of 7 who are missing. In other parts of the state, there are 12 who are missing. I have a new number, however. So one thing we've been reaching out to the public about is to get better information about those who were not registered at a camp, those who were not registered at a hotel, those who may have been down here who no one really had any accounting of. And through law enforcement agency working together, they provided me this number. Just in the Kerr County area alone, there are 161 people who are known to be missing. And again, that comes from combined law enforcement efforts, 161 known people who are missing. Know this, we will not stop until every missing person is accounted for. Know this also, there very likely could be more added to that list. One way that we were able to expand the list of those who are missing is because family members, friends, neighbors, etc. begin calling in and reporting them as missing. What I want to do is once again provide a reminder to anybody watching this that if you have a friend, a family member, somebody that you think may be missing because of this storm, we need you to call the number that I'm about to give you. It is 830-258-1111. That's 830-258-1111. If you want to go to a website address, you can go to kerrvillemissing@dps.texas.gov. I'm going to repeat it twice more. That's Kerrville, spelled Kerrville, no space, then the word missing, MISSING. So Kerrville Missing at dps.texas.gov. So either call that phone number, go to that website, and provide the name and the best identification you can and the last known location of anybody that you think is missing. Know this also. If you make a prank call or provide false information, that's a crime. Do not provide false information because you're hindering our ability to undertake this investigation, hindering our ability to actually rescue and find those who truly are missing. So you better be correct when you're calling in and let us know that there is somebody who is missing. Importantly, we know that so many families are going through grief that's beyond anyone's comprehension right now, beyond any of us being able to walk up to them and give them the magic words that will make them suddenly feel healed. We know that they need grief counselors. We have 5 organizations that together are providing dozens of grief counselors for all of the affected family members around here. It's so important at times like this for family members to access that grief counseling so they can have their mental and emotional health needs addressed in what may be the most challenging time of their lives. Something else that's a help as we begin the process of helping places like the Hunt Store, the local community, Hunt, Texas, be able to rebuild. One thing that is speeding that recovery was the immediate granting of the major master declaration that was granted by President Trump. It immediately opened not only access to more funding, but also access to more resources to be able to more quickly and more effectively respond to this storm. That includes debris removal, which has already begun. It includes assistance for individuals who are eligible to apply, and the director of Texas Division of Emergency Management will explain more about that in a second. But there are 2 categories of people or entities that there is money available to assist. One are individuals affected by the storm. Another are public entities like the town of Hunt, like the town of Kerrville, like the county of Kerr, etc. They may have needs with regard to roads or utilities, whatever the case may be. Now the assistance is available for them to more effectively and more quickly address that. With regard to roads, anybody who's driven around here knows that there are some roads that need repairs. The Texas Department of Public Safety is working 24/7 to make sure they're going to be getting these roads repaired and passable as quickly as possible. Going back to President Trump, he and I spoke again this morning, and he could not stop talking about how sad he was for all the little girls who've lost their life. He recounted his own understanding of what happened with what was really a tsunami wave of wall of water that swept too many of them away. And he cares a lot about those young ladies. And he wants to step up and make sure that any need that we have here in Texas is going to be met very quickly. And he's already done that by helping to provide the quick assistance by sending down Secretary Kristi Noem, who, listen, I've been dealing with events like this for 10 years. Never have I seen someone respond as quickly and as effectively as what Secretary Noem did. Also, while coming over here, I received this text from Secretary Kennedy. It says the following. It says, Governor Abbott, it's Secretary Robert Kennedy. It says, we are set to declare a public health emergency for the Texas Hill Country flash floods. This will make it easier for healthcare and mental health providers from out of state to help both by traveling to the area and by telemedicine. Please let us know where we can be most helpful, which I will let him know. But I just wanted you to know about that new update. Now I would like to turn things over to the Speaker of the Texas House, Dustin Burrows.
So while the governor does that, and we might get back to it when he begins to take questions, frankly, that's a more interesting part of this. I'm not here to say that listening to the Speaker of the House is not interesting, but State Representative Dustin Burrows speaking right now, who is the Texas House Speaker. 109 dead, at least 161 missing in the flooding in and around Kerrville, Texas. Just an absolute tragedy, no ifs, ands, or buts. It is so sad that we live in a day and age, as we spoke about yesterday, where there are those so heartless and so cruel that they would choose to take political advantage or attempt to take political advantage of this, suggesting by some stretch of the imagination that it's all about climate change, despite the fact that we've had, the first flood I learned about happened a long, long time ago. Long time ago. I think it was in Genesis. So we've had floods for as long as human beings have been on the earth. Secondarily, there are some liberals that would suggest that somehow a lack of funding resulted in a lack of a warning for those impacted, and that has been debunked and dispelled so many times I don't feel compelled to do it again. It's a disgusting display of the heartlessness of the left that they would choose to attempt to take political advantage in a situation like this. That is not to say that we can't learn things. That's not to say that we can't discuss things. We certainly can. We can learn things. We can discuss things. Is it possible that even in the aftermath of the 98 floods and the 87 floods and the 78 floods and the flood of 1935 and flood of 1921, those are the 5 biggest in the last 100 years in that area. There have been more, but those are the 5 biggest. 87, of particular note, because people died. Is it possible that other things could have been done? Hindsight's 20/20. But those things involve rebuilding around the river. Those things involve rebuilding camps around these flood zones. They don't have anything to do with climate change. They don't have anything to do with politics. Lessons can be learned from this and will be learned from this of a non-political nature. So I think Abbott's back at it. Yeah, give it another shot. I think Greg Abbott's back at the podium. Let's hear what he has to say right now.
Kerr County, Kendall County, as well as in Central Texas and the Big Country, all areas affected by the floods of the past week. Those issues are going to be on the agenda for the state to address from top to bottom. We want to make sure that when we end that session, we end it making sure these communities are better, more resilient, and have the resources that they need for the next chapter of their lives. Now we have the director of the Texas Department of Public Safety, Freeman Martin.
Governor, thank you. The governor said it. We have 109 fatalities and 161 missing. Every asset.
Okay, those are the big figures. We'll continue to monitor this from our studio and in the control area. That's Colonel Freeman Martin, the director of the Texas Department of Public Safety, reiterating some of the numbers that were provided a little earlier by Governor Greg Abbott. Just a sad state of affairs in that situation. It's not until the top of the hour. We'll reset. We'll continue talking. I promised to talk Medicaid today and kind of give you the real scoop about the big, beautiful bill that's now called the Big, Beautiful Law. We also have Johnny Garrett coming up to talk about his run for the 6th Congressional District. That's all on the way on Super Talk 99.7 WTN and The Matt Murphy Show. Hey, friends, Matt Murphy here with my man, Tony. Tony, it feels like a long time since I've had a chance to talk to you. What's going on, brother?
My goodness, it has been a long time. I've had Matt withdrawals.
Listen, Tony, my shoulder, my left shoulder's feeling so good, I want to come install some cabinets with you at Cabinet Solutions.
Woo!
How about that?
Let's do it, man. Hey, listen, I wanted to tell you, I've actually had some calls from the listeners, and they were a little confused about something, so I wanted to clear something up.
All right, let's do it.
A lot of people wanted to know if we just deal with low-end cabinetry, and the answer to that is no, absolutely not. We have a lot of high-end cabinetry for the most discriminating aspects in the scope of work. We do $1 million homes all the way down to $250,000 homes, and so my start was in high-end custom cabinetry, and our sister company does it, and we do it here. So we're well versed in high-end cabinetry. So if people have that need, we have got that and certainly can take care of them.
Well, one of the things I loved the first day that I toured the facility, the first day that I met you in Hendersonville, was that you have a price point for every budget, you have a style for every taste, you have a cabinet for every home, and just about every room in every home at Cabinet Solutions. Well, let folks know how they can get in contact with you, Tony, and get all of the process started.
All right. They need to go to mycabinetsolution.com. That's mycabinetsolution.com. And after they browse around and look, they can go to the contact tab and fill out a quick and simple and easy form, and that'll come directly to me, and I will reach out to them, and we'll talk about the project, and I'll get them in touch with the right person.
Y'all need to make this happen today with Tony and mycabinetsolution.com. There's Tony Spain. Thank you, Tony.
Texas flood death toll update. Trump administration just got another Supreme Court win. These stories and more at 4 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
And I should mildly correct myself that there was no official vote count, but the unofficial count within the court was 8-1. And Sotomayor was a concurring opinion, which leads us to believe that Ketanji Brown Jackson was the only dissenting opinion. I'll have more on that for you coming up a little bit later on in the show. If you're just joining us, the Supreme Court offering a decisive victory for the Trump, and it was a common sense victory for the Trump administration as well. Supreme Court backed President Donald Trump's effort to carry out mass firings and reorganization at federal agencies under his control. A lower court had temporarily blocked the president from taking those steps without approval from Congress. Decision is the latest in a series of significant victories at the Supreme Court level for Donald Trump, as we predicted on the Matt Murphy Show, including an opinion making it more difficult to challenge executive orders and rulings backing the administration's deportation policies. It's an unsigned order. The court said lower courts had stopped his plans based on the administration's general effort rather than specific agency reduction in force plans. Ketanji Brown Jackson dissented from the rest of the members of the court. The case stems from an EO, executive order, signed by Trump in mid-February that kicked off the process of significantly reducing the size of federal agencies, an issue the president campaigned on last year, of course. Federal departments are created by law. Lower courts have held that the White House can't wipe them out, but obviously the president of the United States has the authority to reorganize within the executive branch of government. After all, he heads the executive branch of government. It's just a matter, frankly, of common sense. Hey, real quick, I need a minute on a PPP. That's a PPP.
That's a
come on. You got it, Ken.
Personal preference.
A point of personal privilege.
Privilege. Yes.
Point of personal privilege. PPP. Y'all know that I had my shoulder replaced a couple of weeks ago, and I want to thank a couple of people. One, Bethany Van Meter sent me this lovely book. Y'all remember Bethany? Bethany is the owner. Bethany and her family, they own River, the dog with no eyes. She's written several children's books about River and his journey to overcome the loss of his eyesight, inspiring kids. They send River around to schools all over the Tennessee area. They're just great people, Bethany and her husband and family. And she sent me a little book to make me feel better, which is very sweet, from River and his family. Thanks to AFP, Americans for Prosperity, they sent me cookies.
All right.
Which were absolutely delicious. And I just want to real quick thank all of the folks at Summit Surgery Center that helped me out. And just to remember, Dr. LeBlue, Dr. Wheel, Lulu, Amanda, Leah, Nurse Peggy, Nurse Carol, Janice. Thank you. Summit Surgery Center was fabulous. And then finally, obviously, thanks to Dr. Marinu and Dr. Hageman for giving me a brand new one. I don't care if it's from China or not. It's going to be great. And I just wanted to make sure. I forgot to do it yesterday, and I'm sorry, but I just wanted to make sure that I thanked those people specifically and all of you that reached out via social media platforms, Facebook, the X Machine and the like, and all of you at Super Talk, Jackson and Ken and everybody else. Chris,
well, thank you, Brother Murphy.
Oh, y'all are so kind. Y'all are so good. Good people. We got 3 more hours to go. Johnny Garrett is running for Congress. And he joins us next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Tell you a little bit more about this rain that's moving through Nashville right now. Some of the heaviest is right now over West Nashville. Then again, Gallatin getting hammered right now. And then all the way back down to Hohenwald getting some heavy rain. All this moving slowly to the east. Full forecast, traffic coming up in 5 minutes. The death toll from the Texas flood, we just learned, has grown to 109, and then there are 161 still missing. But even in these terrible numbers, listen to what Lieutenant Colonel Ben Baker with the Texas Game Wardens announced today.
We've searched 26 river miles since the tragic event has started. We've had approximately 444 rescues. 30 recoveries.
Keep praying for those first responders and possible survivors out there. President Trump says he's going to go there on Friday. We just got another ruling from the U.S. Supreme Court. Stephen Portnoy says it allows the Trump administration to start implementing a plan to reduce the size of federal agencies.
The High Court's order allows the administration to move forward with sweeping plans to downsize federal agencies. A California-based district court judge blocked the effort in May, but now the Supreme Court says the administration is likely to succeed and arguing that the downsizing plans can at least be drawn up by agency heads. Whether the reductions in force will ultimately pass legal and constitutional muster would be subject to future court fights. Breaking from her colleagues at this stage, liberal Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson wrote a 15-page dissent.
The Trump administration announcing what they say is a 7-point plan to secure U.S. farmland and farmers from foreign adversaries like China.
American agriculture is not just about feeding our families, but about protecting our nation and standing up to foreign adversaries who are buying our farmland, stealing our research, and creating dangerous vulnerabilities in the very systems that sustain us.
That's Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins saying she has already canceled 7 contracts and there will be more. Agriculture Secretary Rollins says the Trump administration is clear on who they plan to detain and deport from the U.S., those who are here illegally, no matter where they may work.
No amnesty under any circumstances. Mass deportations continue, but in a strategic and intentional way as we move our workforce toward more automation and toward a 100% American workforce.
And in Tennessee, at least 5 state lawmakers say they intend to run for retiring Congressman Mark Green's 7th district seat. Franklin Republican State Rep Lee Reeves, the latest. He went on WTN's Dan Mandas show this morning. Dan asked this morning if he'll proclaim to be a staunch Trump supporter.
The race is going to have a lot of talkers. I'm a doer, right? I get things done. I've passed bills. I've stood firm. I've taken heat in some cases to get results. Look, I'm a workhorse. I'm not a show pony, and I'll say that right up front. I get in the trenches and get things done. I think Washington needs more workhorses.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, TDOT says we got a disabled vehicle blocking the right lane, 40 westbound right there at Fessler's Lane, and then a crash with the right lane blocked. This is going to be Briley Parkway eastbound at Dickerson Pike. TDOT reporting that one. Police reporting a crash over 40 eastbound near the 2440 Eastern split. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy back after it. It is hour number 2. Tony, I see you over there, and I see y'all on the phone line, 615-737-9986 if you want to jump on board. Always appreciate the conversation that is present and available on the phone lines, and we'll get to it in just a moment. I promised you that we would talk Medicaid funding, and we might do a little bit of that with our next guest, but we'll get into it in depth this hour of the show. We've got Lee Reeves. Briefly, he was on this morning with Dan Mandis. For those that missed it, Lee announced that he's running for the 7th Congressional District. That was vacated by Mark Green. Congressman Mark Green announced his retirement some weeks ago. He said that he would retire upon completion of the passage of the big, beautiful bill. He has done that, and he has officially retired, and now there will be a special election in the 7th Congressional District to replace Mark Green. That is later on in summer to fall. And already there's just any number of candidates that have gone into that race. Do not confuse the 7th Congressional race with the conversation that we're about to have with a candidate for the 6th Congressional District, which is opening up because Congressman Mark Green is running for governor of the state of Tennessee. We're going to do all of that in a second. I just want to remind all of you that my offer, I just want to make sure that she hears about it. That's my primary goal, is to make sure that Gloria Johnson is fully and well aware of what is on the table, because Gloria went on social media and went after Tim Burchett and other Tennessee congressmen for voting for the BBB, the Big Beautiful Bill, which is now the Big Beautiful Law, saying that Tennesseans would die as a result of a lack of Medicaid, that hospitals would shut down, that people would lose their insurance, people would lose their Medicaid, and it would just be a horrific disaster in the state of Tennessee. And specifically went after Congressman Tim Burchett, who is her congressman in Knoxville. So I have offered for Gloria and Tim to spend an hour with us on the Matt Murphy Show. Tim Burchett was on the show yesterday and agreed to spend an hour with Gloria discussing and debating the pros and cons of Medicaid as it exists today and what the ramifications of the Big Beautiful Bill will be. Gloria has yet to respond, so I have decided to sweeten the pot. I have offered Gloria Johnson $1,000 to any non-political charity of her choosing. Animal rescue group, cancer organization, whatever. Non-political charity. I'm not giving it to the Democrat. I'm not giving money to the Democrat Party. So that's the bottom line. So any non-political charity of Gloria's choosing, I will give $1,000. And already I have gotten $800 in matching money from the listening audience of this show. So, Gloria, we're up to $1,800 to a non-political charity of your choosing. All you have to do is come in and have a discussion with us about Medicaid and Medicaid funding. Okay. That said, let's welcome in our next guest. He is no stranger to the program. Representative Johnny Garrett has been on many times discussing activity with the Tennessee legislature, and he has announced his candidacy for the 6th Congressional District right here in the state of Tennessee. What is going on, Johnny?
Not too much today.
Yeah.
Matt, thanks for having me. I have to say, and I enjoyed your commentary about Gloria. Gloria is the, for the state purposes, the leader of the Democratic Party, and I also believe she's the reason why there's instructions on shampoo. So, it'd be great if you could have her in for an hour and
she's invited.
What she could say as part of the opposition, so to speak.
I'm an open door. I have an open door policy for Democrats on my show. I love when they come on. I may have misspoke, by the way, based on the super text line, and if y'all heard me, I'm sorry. Mark Green's not running for governor. John Rose. I may have said Mark Green. John Rose is running for governor, and as a result of Congressman Rose's announcement that he is, standing up for Tennessee and offering himself to service in that capacity, that is going to open up the 6th Congressional District. And you've offered yourself to service in that capacity. Talk to us about the decision-making process and the announcement.
Well, thank you for that, Matt. And I am very excited to be the conservative candidate for the 6th Congressional District. This is my home. I am a 7th-generation Gilletsvillian, spent all my life in Sumner County. Many Garretts before me have been in Sumner County, and I hope many Garretts after me stay right here in Sumner County to be that conservative fighter that will stand for and with President Trump and make sure his agenda is passed, because I believe the next generation is dependent upon that. So I am more than happy to step in that arena, step in that fight, and fight for the conservative values that Tennessee holds so dear. I'm really excited about the campaign ahead.
I can't imagine that people don't know you and your record, but for those that do not, talk about your service in the legislature and your service previous to offering yourself up as a congressman.
Well, I've been in the legislature now for this is my 4th term, my 7th year. I became the majority whip My freshman year was a little bit unusual, and have done exactly what I believe I can do in D.C. That I've done as a state representative. We've passed more legislation to cut Tennesseans' taxes by over $3 billion just in the little amount of time that I've been in office. The last decade, Republicans, since they overtook the legislature and the majority, has passed over $4.5 billion worth of taxes that we put money right back into Tennesseans' pockets. That's the type of leadership that we need in D.C., and that's what excites me about this race, is the ability to make sure we get our spending under control. It's a muck. It is a sewer up there of what they spend money, print money. We've got to get that under control, and President Trump is doing just that.
Well, we're going to talk about that in a second. Before we do, I've been around the block. I wish I was as young as I was when I started all this, but it's been a minute. 25 years I've been doing this, and I mean, whip. I mean, that's basically you go around, make sure the votes are. What does a whip do? I don't need to lead the witness here. What does a whip do?
A couple of things. My role is to communicate with leadership where the votes are. You know, I have several deputy whips that help us see where they are. Now, we don't go in and try to convince someone to go one way or the other. We do a lot of explaining. We have to know the legislation, even if it's not ours, like it's the back of our hand, to make sure.
By the way, it's a fine line between explaining and convincing there, Garrett.
That's right. That's right. Just to make sure where we are. You know, if there's a member in the well of the House that's got a piece of legislation and we feel a cool breeze coming in, it's my job to make sure, hey, you might have some issues. Your bill might be on life support. You may need to go back and do a little bit more work. Mm-hmm. And I could even tell the sponsor of the legislation that particular issue if they've got some problems. So
sometimes
that's
you're the bearer of good news, sometimes bad news with regard to
both.
Yeah.
It's just that communication with the sponsor and leadership to make sure that the good legislation that we put forward, we know where it is. And the second part of the whip's job is not only to raise campaign funds to be competitive in the general, to make sure we maintain a supermajority here in the state of Tennessee. I also head up our campaign committee and help out folks across the state in their campaigns as a caucus. And that's a lot of fun to help out as many people as we can to make sure they can defend their seat and then also expose the woke ridiculousness Freddie O'Connell's doing, in Nashville, that they're trying to spread across this state with Gloria Johnson's shampoo instructions to see if we can, turn Tennessee blue, which will, I hope, never, ever happen.
I think
that is my job as whip.
I mean, I would love to believe that there's a little bit of a backlash in Davidson County. Maybe that's just wishful thinking with regard to how left some on the Metro Council have gone and how left the mayor seems to have gone with regard especially to issues that really don't have a lot to do with him, like the Tennessee Highway Patrol and Immigration and Customs.
Well, I would like, I don't know, say I would like them to be left, but there's something worse than that. They're just now progressive that even go further than what I would call traditionally left. They're nutty. They're insane. There's no common sense. I mean, the bill that we just passed a couple of years ago that went all the way up to the Supreme Court to save from children's mutilation. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't think that me and you ever on your radio show for 25 years would talk about a parent's desire to cut off their kids' parts because they may have some sort of dysphoria that I don't even believe it even exists. The fact that we were able to pass that piece of legislation, the Supreme Court agreed with Tennessee. Tennessee was on the forefront of that. That's what excites me about that race. That's what excites me about the experience that I've had in the State House, that I can take that experience, let's put a little Tennessee in D.C., and that's where I'm excited. That's why I'm doing this.
What kind of job do you think Congressman Rose has done for the district?
Look, I think Congressman Rose has done a great job in Congress. Congressman Rose is a good man. There's no doubt that he is a good man. He has made a decision in his life to serve in a different capacity.
And I'm not asking you to comment on that necessarily. I'm just curious, as a constituent, I mean, you have to feel like, I mean, I feel like he's done a great job.
Yeah, he has. He's got two young boys. He's done a good job as a congressman. It's going to be probably a little bit different coming here in his pursuit, and I look forward to watching that race and seeing how that's going to develop. I don't think he's going to be probably in it by himself too much longer. We'll see.
How would you describe the 6th district? I mean, is it a rural district? I mean, I understand with the look, when I first came to Tennessee with the Tennessee legislature and their redrawing of some of these congressional district lines, yes, it can get a little confusing describing to people what district is what. I thought it was a master stroke to pick up a seat because you traded one leftist congressman in Nashville for 3 Republican congressman serving that community.
That's right. Nashville's got 3 congressmen now that can advocate for the,
as opposed to just the one.
That's right.
But how would you describe the 6?
I think mostly rural. It's a rural district. It does stretch into Sumner and a little bit, obviously into Nashville. But I think it's got a great diverse in geography and in business. It's got Cookville with Tennessee Tech. I mean, we've got Vol State. We've got all kinds of great colleges in the district. So I mean, it is a district that's widespread, and you can find just a little bit of heaven in any piece of the district.
What are those folks? I mean, I know you've been out talking to these folks even prior to your announcement. What are they talking about? Or I mean, I would hope that the majority of them are in support of the legislation that we just saw passed in the Congress. What about you?
Well, absolutely. They're worried about watching what happened with a president that basically, well, one, I don't even know if he was actually acting as president, but they saw what happened during 4 years of just nothing. Prices rising, inflation rising, less money in their pockets. They're excited that I believe President Trump, in the less than 6 months that he's been in office, what he's accomplished. A year ago in May, over 60,000 crossings of our border. 60,000. You know what it was this May?
It was next to nothing.
Zero.
Yeah, it was
zero. And what did he say during that entire time? Well, Congress has got to act. We got to get Congress. No, we don't. Matt, we just need a new president. That's all we need. That's what they're concerned about. The 6th.
Well, I'll tell you what. Take a break, and I'll ask you about the BBB in a minute. Because I was on record as saying I had issues with it. I had problems with it, and I think for the most part, every person that I've talked to that actually voted for it says the same thing. I'm curious what Johnny Garrett has to say about it. He's running for the 6th Congressional District. Now, don't be confused. This is not the election that's coming up in several months. That's the 7th. This one is the normal cycle of things. We got plenty of time to talk to Johnny about what he's going to do for the 6th Congressional District. That primary is coming next year. 20 after the hour, we'll continue the conversation next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy. USS stands for United Structural Systems. And look, folks, y'all know how it goes, and I've learned very quickly in my 4 years in the state of Tennessee. I mean, the rains come, and it falls fast and furious, and if you don't have the proper foundation for your home, if you have something that might be advancing water or allowing water into your basement or your crawl space, that's just going to keep happening, and it's going, I promise you, to cause a problem. When USS comes out to your home, they are problem solvers. They don't want to upsell you on anything. They just want to find the problem that you have and solve it. It might be simple, it might be a little more complex, but they're never going to overcharge you at USS. That's why they are considered the foundation and waterproofing experts in Middle Tennessee and have been since 1994. Almost 30,000 positive testimonials at USS. That's a lot of fixing. A lot of foundation fixes and a lot of waterproofing fixes. 615-488-7855, 488-7855, or USSTN.com. Hey, friends, Matt Murphy here. You know, the recent storms, I think yesterday's storms, as a matter of fact, that happened, reminds us that at any moment in the state of Tennessee, your power can go out. And what do? I mean, if you work from home, that's a big deal, right? Because you could lose important and valuable work. Even more important, if you have a family member at home that needs power constantly, whether it be oxygen or something else, then you've got to have that power there, or you simply don't want to lose your power when others do. Sometimes power goes out, and it might be 24 hours or longer, and I know that people work hard to get it back on, but you need Premier Generac generators on your side. And friends, you don't need to wait. Call today because these storms happen. Hurricanes bring a lot of rain to Tennessee when they happen, and hurricane season is upon us. You never know when one will pop up in the Gulf and come our way, or those horrific pop-up thunder boomers that just can devastate certain areas in our state. You need to know, and you need to get the best. Premier Generators, they simply are the best. Go to premiergenerators.com, premiergenerators.com, or give them a call. Here's a brand new number for you, 855-797-4766. I'm told that is PRWISON. Power is on. See what they did there? That's 855-797-4766 or premiergenerators.com.
Well, we've got the latest on the Texas flood and another Supreme Court victory for the Trump administration. These stories and more coming up at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. If you want to ask a question of our guest, who will be here for another 5 minutes or so, Representative Johnny Garrett, who is running for the 6th congressional seat being vacated by John Rose, who's running for governor. Now's a good time to do it. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. That's via text or call, and you can get those questions in here. I had consternation. I want to lead you, but I had consternation about the big, beautiful bill. I felt like we could have saved more. I think that has been reflected in a lot of our congresspeople. Just give me your would you have voted for it? And, you know, is that a matter of weighing the pros against the cons? Talk to us about it.
I absolutely would have voted for the big, beautiful bill. I mean, any opportunity that we get to return money back to Tennesseans is the right thing to do. We should continue to do that. And I don't want to speak for you what your consternation is with that big, beautiful bill, but my sense is that we didn't do enough. That's why
cutting spending on the federal level.
That's why I'm doing this. That's why I want to be a conservative fighter and try to pass President Trump's agenda, because I don't think he's done. There are more things that we can do that the big, beautiful bill didn't do. We hadn't even touched what DOGE is uncovered, what we can eliminate from spending in our federal budget. We couldn't do that with this process. That's what gives me a little bit, but I wish we could have done this as part of the big, beautiful bill. But you know what? That's why we have elections. That's why I'm running. That's why I want to go to D.C. to put a little Tennessee in D.C., because here, as you well know, we have to balance our budget. Whenever will Congress realize that that's the thing to do instead of bringing in $4 trillion and spending $6, spending $7? We can't keep doing that. My kids, my grandkids are going to be paying for that. And yes, people say that all the time when they're in office, but that's going to be the reality once we're talking about these numbers, when our interest alone is more than our defense budget. We can't sustain it.
I mean, commitment to regular order, I would think, commitment to, separating these omnibus budget bills out into their appropriation bills. I mean, there's 12, I think, of them. That's the way that it ought to be. It hasn't been that way in a long time. Is that a commitment that
I think there's an expectation with President Trump's ability to call it a big, beautiful bill? What's going to be next? There's going to be something. There's going to be legislation that will not take in the normal course of the way Congress doesn't work because President Trump's in office. People support and want conservative fighters to make sure he can pass his agenda. This person standing in front of you, Matt, is the person that's going to do that.
Johnny, you're one of the first. I've heard a couple of names floated. I don't know if there have been official. Maybe there have been a couple of official announcements. But you're one of the first to announce your candidacy in the 6th District. What do you believe will separate you from what I'm sure will be a nice, flush primary season come, certainly the fall and into 2026? What are priorities that Johnny Garrett is going to have on the table that you're going to talk about over the next year?
It is going to be my conservative bona fide since I've been in the House for these past 7 years. We passed and led the effort to have an immigration czar to work with President Trump's administration and make sure illegal are going home, right? They are now self-deporting in record numbers. That's what we're going to do. We've already discussed, we've voted on tax cuts here in Tennessee. My record reflects the conservative values that I stand for. That's going to stand apart. That's what I'm going to do. That's what we're going to do when we get to D.C. and support President Trump's agenda to make sure we can make America the best America that it can be.
Johnny, we know that we'll have plenty of conversations moving down the road. This one's easy, right? We got a year, right? We got a nice little.
This is a marathon. The 7th is going to be a sprint, but this is a marathon.
Any thoughts on that 7th district? I mean, not a candidate, but just that's a little. I mean, obviously, kudos to Congressman Mark Green. He's moving on. He's served his country in a multitude of capacities. But any thoughts on that 7th district?
Well, I know because the 7th is conservative. We're going to get a conservative fighter in that seat, and I look forward to that race and look forward to working with the eventual winner of the Republican primary because we can go to D.C. together and do a lot of good.
Johnny, thanks for coming on and spending some time with us. Just recently made the announcement he is running for the 6th Congressional District. Any website you want to plug?
JohnnyGarrettForCongress.com. JohnnyGarrettForCongress.com. You can be a part of Team Garrett. I would welcome that opportunity to talk with you and tell you why I'll be your candidate for the 6th District.
There you go. There's Johnny Garrett spending some good 30 or so minutes with us. It's time for the news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. .4:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Right now, we're watching some heavy rain moving off to the east of Nashville. Lebanon, you're right in the path of some of the heaviest rain. South of Nashville, Lawrenceburg, you're in the neighborhood of it. Then west of Nashville, about a 2-hour drive. Looks like Jackson's getting ready to get hammered by some heavy rain. All of that slowly creeping eastward. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. The latest on the Texas flood. 109 confirmed dead, and likely there will be more after what we learned this afternoon from Governor Greg Abbott.
Just in the Kerr County area alone, there are 161 people who are known to be missing. And again, that comes from combined law enforcement efforts. 161 known people who are missing.
President Trump says he's going to the region on Friday. U.S. Supreme Court says the Trump administration can start implementing a plan to significantly reduce the size of federal agencies. Whether the reductions in force will ultimately pass legal and constitutional muster would be subject to future court fights. Breaking from her colleagues at this stage in the Supreme Court, liberal Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson wrote a 15-page dissent. She was the only dissent. And the Trump administration moving to protect U.S. farmland and farmers from foreign entities they say are bad actors like China. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth says it also protects our troops, making sure farmland near military bases are protected.
We would be asleep at the wheel if we were not fully a party to an effort like this to ensure that our nation had the food supply it needs. But specifically, our troops have what they need.
Yeah, Ag Secretary Brooke Rollins says she's already canceled 7 active agreements with entities in foreign countries of concern, and she says more cancellations are on the way. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Accident, right lane blocked, Briley Parkway eastbound at Dickerson Pike. TDOT says there's a stalled vehicle blocking the right shoulder, 40 westbound at Fessler's Lane. And then over on the west end, there's a crash, 440 eastbound at West End Avenue, exit 1. In East Nashville, an injury crash, Main Street and Spring Street. And over at the Eastern Split, police say there's a crash 40 eastbound right there at I-24 and 40. Looking over here in Robertson County, we've got a crash reported by the Highway Patrol. That's going to be 65 northbound southbound, that is, before exit 112. And then in Coffee County, Highway Patrol says there's a crash 24 eastbound approaching the Beech Grove Highway 64, exit 97. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, folks. Matt Murphy. GracePoint Healthcare is affordable, convenient, and comprehensive medicine delivered the old-fashioned way. Let's talk about this. A direct pay primary care provider means that all treatment decisions are made between you and the medical staff, not your insurance company. And it should be that way, right? Insurance companies should not decide that you don't get this treatment or that treatment, particularly when the doctor is recommending it. It is why we recommend GracePoint Healthcare. Whether you're paying by the visit or enrolling in the Smart Care plan, you're going to always get exceptional care at an affordable price, and you know exactly what you pay. The basic Smart Care plan is $69 a month. It includes free office visits and free basic labs and diagnostic testing for the entire year. Families they're ready to take families of all ages, and there's never a long wait time in the waiting room at GracePoint Healthcare. Oftentimes, they see you same day or next day. Let's get to it. Let's go to Franklin and get with GracePoint Healthcare. 599-6868, 599-6868. You can't afford exceptional health care. Modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way. Hello, folks. Matt Murphy for my friends at Men of Valor. There are many, many organizations that I recommend to you on a daily basis. Men of Valor is a little bit different because all I ask you to do is to consider the amount of money that we are spending on our prison systems in the state of Tennessee. It's so much money. I mean, in the millions and millions of dollars. With Men of Valor leading the fight, they go into the prison system. They sit down with men who, frankly, are takers, not givers to their society. And they are, in most cases, godless, sadly. That criminal mindset has taken hold. And Men of Valor walks them through a better way, a better path, a better life to be had on this earth. And most importantly, they save souls for the next. And through that process, they save us a tremendous amount of money. But they need you to do it because Men of Valor needs volunteers. They need people willing to go into the prison systems, and they need your donations. Will you go to movministry.com? That's movministry.com to find out more about this wonderful organization that truly is Men of Valor. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Did you go do what you needed to do?
Yeah.
Did you now? Wow, that was quick. Good for you. Jackson at the helm, making sure that everything that comes out of our speaker sounds as good as humanly possible. Ken Weaver's back in the newsroom. He's jamming back there.
How about you?
How about this day? What about it, man?
It's a good day, man. I've had lots of news to write up today. Lots of local news, lots of election news to write up today.
I'll tell you what, it gets a little confusing, Weaver.
Yes, sir.
Because you got the 7th district. That's coming up quick.
Yeah, that's going to be fast.
Quick.
Like September and November.
Right. And then you got this 6th thing that's coming up, and that's going to be slow.
Right.
Or slower. Be here before you know.
Right.
And then you got that governor's race.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And John Rose is in, and everybody thinks any day now we're going to hear something from Marcia, right? That's what we're
waiting.
We're waiting. I mean, who knows? 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. 1221 says, I'm late to the party. Have you taken credit for being 100% correct about the Epstein list? You absolutely should. No. I was just waiting for you guys to give it to me. What'd I tell y'all?
Yeah.
I told y'all. I never believed there was a list to begin with. Now, let's talk about what we mean by a list. There has been a lot of there's been a central assumption in the Epstein deal. And there's been a lot of conversation. What's real, what's not real, what's there, what's not there. Here's my central question in all of this. You know, where's the press conference? That's what I want to know. There should be one. Right? Do you not believe a subject of generating this level of conversation in the, 6 years now? Almost 6 years since the man killed himself? Should there not be a press conference? It is an insult to the people of the United States of America that there isn't one. Now, I will tell you that President Trump, I'm not going to use the word disappointed. That's the first word that came to mind. I don't want to say that. I don't want it to sound as if we allow small things. And in the grand scheme of things, could this be considered a small thing? I don't know that I want to consider it a small thing. We are, after all, talking about child rape. But to dismiss this the way that he did today in the White House at the cabinet meeting, it was a great cabinet. It was a beautiful cabinet meeting. It was a great cabinet meeting. It was a gorgeous cabinet meeting. But to dismiss this in the way that he did when a reporter asked AG Pam Bondi about this. So let's just reset this scene for just a moment. Jeffrey Epstein was accused of not only engaging in pedophilia and child trafficking and human trafficking. He was accused of farming out these underage girls to other people of influence. That was the accusation. Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted on that basic premise. Now we're being told that he didn't? Remember in February? And once again, I want to make clear, this does not cut it off with me in the Trump administration. I love the Trump administration. I love the things that have been accomplished. I am on record, and we will talk about it a little later on this show. I believe that Donald Trump's first 6 months in his second term as president of the United States of America represents a better second term than any president has had in American history. And y'all tell me where I'm wrong. I've heard Eisenhower. I have floated this. Tell me a more consequential second term in just the first 6 months. It's been masterful on the foreign policy front, masterful when it comes to energy, masterful when it comes to border security, masterful when it comes to immigration, masterful when it comes to the economy. All of these things. And this little one thing is not going to sour me permanently on the Trump administration, but not every. I mean, there's only one perfect person that's walked the face of the earth. They nailed him to a cross, right? So we don't expect perfection. I believe the dismissal amongst those in the Trump administration of this issue, it's insulting. We were told that Jeffrey Epstein used power and influence and potentially bribed individuals as a result of some of the things that they did on Epstein Island. We have been told. So February of this year, after the Trump administration takes power, after AG Bondi takes over, February into March, we were like, where's the Epstein? Everybody wanted to say the Epstein list. I never believed that there was an Epstein list. And I said as much. And I said, you'll never see it. You'll never see it. Because I don't believe that it's a list as much as it is a matter of moving through the documents, going through the information, going through the evidence collected, and finding those third parties that are indictable, that were party to the crime. And now we're being told by the FBI, by Dan Bongino. Can you imagine what Dan Bongino would be saying today if Dan Bongino were still on the radio and weren't the assistant director of the FBI? I can. Because like Matt Murphy, Dan Bongino didn't put up with that Bravo Sierra that we're hearing out of the AG's office, which is this. No indictable third parties, no third party involved. You're not going to see any of this evidence because you don't need to see it. It's child porn, is what she said. Let's and the president obviously doesn't want to talk about it. Obviously wants to talk about successes. But the way that he dismissed it, I love this man, but this is a bad look, friends.
Your memo and release yesterday on Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for a American or foreign intelligence agency. The former labor secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Costa, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of the staff?
Yeah, sure. If
Pam, could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas.
Okay, so let me stop, Mr. President, with all due respect. We were promised during your campaign that we would see everything. We were promised transparency on everything, including Epstein and the Epstein files. Whether I believe that there's a list or not, we were promised that evidence, redacted, of course. I don't want to put innocent people in jeopardy. I don't want to drag innocent people through anything. But redacted, of course, we were told that we would see the chain of evidence, what happened on that island, and who may be indictable, what third parties, even if non-indictable, might have been involved. We were told by you and by your campaign and by the people that you put in positions of power that we would see that. With all due respect, sir, this is an issue that has come up because, sadly, your administration has not followed through on those promises. And it was not me that did the publicity stunt back in, when was that, March? Y'all remember with the binders?
Yeah.
And they said, oh, Epstein files. What'd they say, Ken? Phase 1? Remember that?
Phase 1.
Phase 1. Where the hell's phase 2? Oh, there's not going to be a phase 2. So, pardon me, Mr. President. It is not, it's not like you guys threw it all on the table where the goats could graze on it and then we just won't stop talking about it. Y'all promised us a phase 2. Phase 1 was a big old deal. Remember when they gave them to all these influencers and whatnot? And, everybody came out of it. And I remember this publicity shot, and it was disturbing. And I said so at the time. If y'all remember, it was kind of disgusting. With all of these young influencers, all these, social media people, and they were coming out of the White House, and they had their binders, and it said Epstein Files Phase 1, and they were holding them up and smiling. And in the other hand, they had hats that said MAGA and all that. And I thought, I wonder if the children that got raped want a hat. I wonder if the children that went through unimaginable abuse on that island, I wonder if they want a hat. And look it. I'm going to call the baby ugly when the baby's ugly. And that was an ugly moment for the Trump administration. And it continues to be an ugly moment. Because it was not me that did that. It was Bondi that did that. It was not me that drugged that around. It was the Trump admin that drugged that around. It was not me that handed out goodies to the preferred class. And oh, by the way, all that stuff that they were given, that's all information that had already come out in the trial of Maxwell. All of it. Nothing new. We were promised new things. Remember when Pam Bondi said, oh, the Southern District of New York has it, but it's on my desk now. The file's on my desk, and as soon as I go through it, I'm delivering it. And now, in July, we are told that with over 300 gigabytes of information, there is not one other responsible party that has been found to have potentially committed a criminal act against an underage person or a young woman. Not one. Do y'all believe that? That with the sphere of influence, with the amount of people that went to that island, with the amount of people that were in Jeffrey Epstein's circle, with the amount of people that flew from here to there to everywhere, with the amount of people that he had in his line of sight, not one other person? Just him? Why is Maxwell in jail then? I mean, seriously, why is she in jail? If she was not conspiring to traffic human beings and underage children to others. I know I got to go to break, but I'm going to finish this up. So Donald Trump has taken over, and he's like, why are we talking about this? And once again, I get it. I understand that you don't want to discuss it, but it's not going away,
We
man.
have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said, I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file, along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also to the 10.
Okay, so I never believed that there was a list. I believed that if you culled the information that you would find names of individuals potentially having engaged in criminal activity or criminal behavior. And I still believe that. The problem is, you said the file's on your desk and you're going to go over it. Remember that there was a truckload of information from the Southern District of New York. I think that was the word truckload of information. And that they hadn't been forthcoming. Once we got, but now we're being told we'll see none of it. We'll know none of it. The people don't deserve that level of transparency. We do not. It's not Trump's fault. It's not Bondi's fault. But let me tell you something. The American people do not have any faith in the FBI. The American people do not have any faith in the Department of Justice. It is up to the Trump administration, although it is through no fault of their own. It is on you to rebuild that faith. And in order to do that, you have to pull the curtain back, man. And on this one thing, for some reason, they've done it everywhere else. RFK, JFK, MLK, all the Ks. Not on this.
Tens of thousands of video. They turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day. To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that.
What does that mean? You said you reviewed the file. What do you mean get back? Tell me, yes or no? Was he an agent or not?
And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing.
Okay, and on that, because I got to go, on that front, Pam Bondi says that at 11:59 at night, the old system of surveillance in that room had to spend a minute to rewind the tape or something or another, and that was the result of the missing tape. What do you say? 615-737-9986. Back in a moment. As a business owner, your time is so important. And when you have IT issues, the last thing you need is to dial a call center that's around the globe or a place that's not manned 24/7 with somebody on the other end of the phone that you don't understand. With Alpha and Omega Computer Consultation and Consultants, Michael and his team, you call someone, they answer right here in Middle Tennessee. You'll get a real person on the phone with a locally owned MSP right here in Middle Tennessee. They deliver customized solutions grounded in industry best practices. In other words, if you own a business and you need an IT company, a computer company, a company that is dedicated to troubleshoot issues that you might have with a service provider, for example, printers, internet, IT, you name it, they do it at Alpha and Omega. Business owners, you need to make this call. It will make your life so much easier and free up your time to do your business. Call 615-784-0096, 784-0096 for Alpha and Omega, or go to ANO.net, ANO.net.
5 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Looking at radar, it looks like the heaviest rain is now well east of Nashville, even beyond Lebanon. Murfreesboro has some pockets of light rain. Franklin, Bellevue getting some of that. Then down in south middle Tennessee, pretty heavy rain there over Lawrenceburg and then just west of Lewisburg. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. The death toll in the Texas flood is 109, but that number is likely to go up as we learned this afternoon that 161 people are still missing in Kerr County alone. And Governor Greg Abbott says of those, half a dozen were from that summer camp.
My information is those who are missing is down to now 5 campers and 1 counselor.
U.S. Supreme Court says the Trump administration can begin implementing plans to reduce the size of federal agencies. That tally was 8-1, with liberal Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson the only dissenter. And the Trump administration today announcing a 7-point plan to protect U.S. farmland and farmers from adversaries, they say.
Actively engaging at every level of government to take swift legislative and executive action to ban the purchase of American farmland by Chinese nationals and other foreign adversaries.
Ag Secretary Brooke Rollins says she's already canceled 7 agreements and more to come. Secretary Rollins says the Trump administration is clear on who they plan to detain and deport from the U.S., no matter where they may work, with the goal of having a 100% legal American workforce.
Ultimately, the answer on this is automation, also some reform within the current governing structure. And then also, when you think about, there are 34 million able-bodied adults in our Medicaid program. There are plenty of workers in America.
Right now in Tennessee, 4-term Goodlettsville Republican State Rep Johnny Garrett came on WTN's Matt Murphy show today after announcing he's going to run for the 6th Congressional District.
And have done exactly what I believe I can do in D.C. That I've done as a state representative. We've passed more legislation to cut Tennesseans' taxes by over $3 billion just in the little amount of time that I've been in office.
Representative Garrett joins current Congressman John Rose's Chief of Staff Van Hillery, Republican Dale Braden, and Democrat Mike Crowley as the candidates seeking to replace Rose in the 6th District. He is running for governor in 2026. And Franklin Republican State Rep Lee Reeves is the latest to enter the ring to replace retiring 7th District Congressman Mark Green. And WTN's Dan Mandis asked Reeves why just after 1 year in the legislature.
Well, it's a good question, and it's one I'm sure I'm going to get. But look, I wanted to serve the people, and this is not the timing I would have chosen. Obviously, I would have hoped that our congressman had stayed longer, and I may not be running, but the opportunity is right now to serve a greater district than the one I have and I love. I love what I'm doing right now, but I think it's an opportunity to serve.
Reeves is among 5 other Republicans and 2 Democrats to announce their intentions for the 7th District. State Reps Bo Mitchell and Afton Ben are the Democrats. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. North Nashville, TDOT says a crash is blocking the right lane, Briley Parkway eastbound at Dickerson Pike. And then 40 westbound at Fessler's Lane, a stalled vehicle off on the right shoulder. Over on the west end, police say there's a crash 440 westbound at Exit 1. And in Antioch now, got a crash reported by police 24 eastbound right before Harding Place. Over by the airport, police say there's a crash 40 eastbound right before Briley Parkway, exit 215. In Lebanon, we've got a crash 40 westbound near I-840. Brentwood, road work, only one lane open, Concord Road westbound past Green Hills Boulevard. Then in Robertson County, the Highway Patrol says there's a crash 65 southbound right before Gallatin Cross Plains, Highway 25, exit 112. And in Beech Grove, Coffee County, Highway Patrol says there's a crash 24 eastbound approaching exit 97. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, just after 5 o'clock. My name is Matt Murphy. Good afternoon. Welcome into the Matt Murphy radio portion of the broadcast day on Super Talk from morning until night. From Mandus until Murphy, you've got live and local conversation happening right here, unfiltered, unafraid, and we thank you for being a part of it. Of course, I mentioned Chris Hand during the day, Chad Benson during the day as well. We thank you for allowing us to be a part of your drive home. Many of you on the roadways getting home. We'll try to keep you up to date with what's happening on the roadways, what's happening with the news, with Ken Weaver back in the newsroom. Of course, Jackson is controlling the experience, making sure that everything that comes out of our speakers sounds as good as humanly possible. Screening your telephone calls as well, and they're coming in fast and furious with regard to my commentary on the Jeffrey Epstein case and the response today by the Trump administration. It was a great press conference. It was a beautiful press conference, except for that little portion. We didn't like that. But we'll talk about that in just a couple of minutes, and I promise I'll make the wait worth it as I'll get to every single one of your telephone calls. We'll do that. We'll talk Medicaid as well. But I do want to spend a moment, go to the Murphy Show hotline. It is the phone line where we interview people, which is the name of the phone line where we interview people. And we welcome Representative Lee Reeves to the program. Now, you might have heard this morning, Lee was on with Dan Mandis, and had a great long-form interview, and I encourage you to go listen to it. Dan did a great job talking to Lee about his announcement that he is a candidate for the 7th Congressional District. More than anything, we wanted to have Lee on to congratulate him on his candidacy and to talk to him, to those that perhaps missed the conversation this morning on Nashville's Morning News. Lee, good afternoon, man.
Well, good afternoon, and thanks for having me on. I'm glad to be back when you're back. This is
Amen.
This could be a good chat.
Watch out, my Chinese my new Chinese shoulder might be listening, so we got to be careful.
There you go. There you go. I will be very.
We're worried about the surveillance possibilities. Although right. I'm told that the possibility exists that it was made in Indiana, but we're figuring that out. Lee, I mean you're a relatively new representative in the Tennessee General Assembly. You have thrown your hat now into the ring for Congress of the United States of America. Tell us why.
Well, frankly, because we need somebody up in D.C. that is going to do the hard work necessary to advance President Trump's agenda. We've got a very short period of time to get things done. And I will say that Democrats, the left, have consistently been very good at moving the ball on the field, whether it's a yard or two or three. And, over time, we look back and say, wow, a lot of ground got really covered there. And Republicans, I don't think, have done as good a job of that. And we need to do that right now.
So I'll just ask the obligatory question, and I don't know if Dan asked you this morning. You fan of the big, beautiful bill? Talk to me about where you were on that. Would you have been a yes?
Yeah, I absolutely would have been a yes, and I know that you had some thoughts on that, and we can get into that. But look, we were able to do a number of things in the one big, beautiful bill that I think were very important. We avoided the largest tax increase in history. We secured funding to complete the wall to support the work of ICE. Some school choice measures were in there. Of course, I'm a big proponent of that, as I was here in the state of Tennessee. And then, no tax on tips or Social Security. That bill did a lot of great things. And I know that not everybody loved every element of it, but we had to get those things done.
Yeah, I mean, my concern was that we this is the best bite at the overspending apple, if you will, that we've had in a long, long time. And I don't know that we necessarily got the bite that we could have. Now, it remains to be seen what economic stimulus this will create as a result of lower taxation, as a result of the bill itself. And secondarily, it all is about what the Congress does moving forward. You'll be a part of that should you be elected as the 7th Congressional District Representative. I mean, can you commit to us? I mean, I talk all the time about separating the bills out and doing 12 separate appropriations, which is the way that it ought to be, getting back to regular order, which is the way that it ought to be. Are these priorities for you? I know it's not the sexiest of topics to discuss when you're on the campaign trail, but are these things that you will focus on?
Well, you and I are very much in alignment on that. I think getting back to regular order and filing 12 different appropriations bills is actually where a lot of people want to be. And we've got a very slim majority in Congress, but right now the most important thing is that we get somebody up there that's going to support that agenda, that's going to take the plays that our quarterback, President Trump, is calling and then execute on them, because we've got a very limited amount of time to make that happen. And like you said, we've got things coming up. Rescission bills are coming up in Congress, and that's peeling back some of the spending in certain areas, and I'm absolutely all for that.
By our count, and you mentioned the compressed nature of the campaign that's before you. No one is more aware of that than you, I'm certain. By our count, I think, Ken Weaver, we had 6 Republicans, right? Is that right, Ken? 6?
And for the
7th Congressional District?
7th,
yeah.
No, 5 Republicans.
5 GOP candidates right now. What separates Lee Reeves from the rest right now?
Well, and that's a great question, and that's the question I'll have to answer during the course of the campaign. But I'll tell you right up front that I might be the most effective member of the from the folks that are running. I mean, I passed 7 bills last year. We've got people running who have never held office, and certainly not in the General Assembly. I have proven that I support President Trump's agenda with some of those measures, and I'm ready to go do the same thing up there. I am not a show pony, Matt. I am a workhorse. I'm ready to get going.
What's the best bill that you sponsored in the last General Assembly, in your opinion?
The best bill that I sponsored was an election integrity measure that ensured that families and working moms and military members would not be denied their right to vote in primaries. We had a movement across the state in certain areas to do away with primaries for local offices, county mayor, property assessor, school board. And we passed a bill that said, no, primaries are the format that we need to use for those, so that our military members can absentee vote, and that those working moms can early vote and get get their say in who represents them. And I think that was the number one bill that I passed, and of course I supported many more.
I look forward to future conversations in that compressed time frame, and I would love to be a part of some sort of symposium, some sort of forum, call it a debate or whatever. I mean, are you game for that in this short time frame? I feel like it's a name ID kind of race. I think people want to get to know these various candidates, want to know what they stand for, what they believe in, how they present themselves. Best way to do that is get on stage with everybody else. Are you game for something like that, Lee?
Well, if the audience is big enough, I certainly agree that we got to get out in front of people and let them know who we are, how we think, how we talk about issues, and we need to find ways to do that.
Okay.
This thing's going to come together very, very quick, so we'll see what lines up.
Well, we'll continue that conversation, Lee. You've represented your district very well in the short amount of time that you've been in the General Assembly, as you mentioned. Got a good bit done in the first session. And we look forward to conversations down the road. I just wanted to say thank you for being on this morning with Dan. Thanks for coming on with us and launching the 7th Congressional bid and many more conversations to come over the course of the summer.
I look forward to it, Matt. Thank you.
All right, take care. There's Representative Lee Reeves joining Jay Reedy and Jody Barrett and Matt Van Epps and others that I forget. And I'm not trying to disrespect those others. I just can't remember them right now.
It's Jason Knight.
There we go.
Matt Van Epps and Jonathan Thorpe.
Oh, don't forget about Jonathan Thorpe. I wonder he's a relative of that Jim Thorpe.
I don't know.
What do you think?
He's a U.S. Army veteran.
That Jim Thorpe could run.
How about them two Democrats?
Oh, yeah, Bo Mitchell. I need to investigate how that works. Are they special sessioning? Are they special electioning with the Republicans, or do they do that different and then we go to a...
I'm not sure how the Democrats do it.
I don't know how that's going to work.
Look that up.
I got to figure that out because old Bo and Afton going after it on the Democrat side of things. Well, hey, Bo, you want to come on? Afton, come on. All comers on this show.
Was Jim Thorpe your favorite football player growing up?
Are you saying that because of my Native American heritage, Jackson? Are you some sort of ist over there? What are you doing over there?
I'm just calling you old because he played in the 40s.
Oh. I thought that was a reflection on my Native American heritage and Jim's Native American heritage. And the fact, they took his medals from him because he played pro football before he went over to the Olympics.
Sounds like Jackson is an ageist.
Hey, that's right. That's exactly what he is, Ken. Ageist.
You know what year Jim Thorpe was born in?
Does it start with an 18?
Yes.
Yeah. Let me guess. 1897.
1887. 10 years older than you had him.
Oh, wow.
He played in 1913.
Old. You know what? I bet he still could whip your ass right now today.
He died in 1963.
And I bet he still go to his grave and start whooping up on you. Jim Thorpe, great American.
He's probably a tough guy.
No question. What are you talking about?
He's definitely a tough guy.
What did he run the 40 in?
They don't have records. He is from Oklahoma, Ken.
Well, then it was 4.3.
That's back when they wore those leather helmets.
Yes, sir.
Fellas. They didn't play around. Gave them brain damage, but, they're tough. Let me get to one or two before we... Tony's been holding for a long time. Let's talk about flooding. Tony, the table is yours, sir. Go right ahead.
Hey, man, how's it going? Glad to see you back. I've been listening so much, I can't exactly remember my points I was going to make. One of the biggest things that I've noticed, there's not a lot of coverage on the volunteer help in Texas, which I'm pretty sure there's a lot of. I was born and raised in Northeast Tennessee. My family originated out of Spruce Pine, North Carolina. When I took a trip home to take supplies, I'm from McMinnville, and there were at least 30 or 40 other trucks going up the same weekend I did. It was 3 weeks after the flood hit. When I got there, I made 4 drops. The first drop I made was in Elizabethton, Tennessee, and that was the only FEMA trailer I saw. They were instructed that if you wanted help from FEMA, you had to come down the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
They would not go up the mountain to you. I made 4 drops as much as I could. They had the roads blocked off to North Carolina simply for the fact that people were trying to take supplies across to North Carolina. So right at the Unicoi County line, right at the base of the mountains, they had state troopers sitting there like, no, you can't go over, you got to go around.
Right. And we discussed so much of that in the aftermath of that tragedy. It was just, some of the frustration amongst the locals was palpable.
There was definitely a lot, and like I say, this isn't hearsay. I saw it for myself the times that I went up. I'm pretty sure that's happening in Texas, even though our new president had help coming in 48 hours, anything they needed. So much better than the situation in Tennessee and North Carolina was made.
Well, I mean, sure. I mean, anytime you're going to see chaos in the aftermath of an event like this, where we've already seen, I think 110 now have been reported dead, 173 still missing. So the death toll is certain to rise, and sadly, it just seems like there's obviously nothing that you can do to bring those people back.
No, and I guess my main point that I wanted to make, if anyone honestly believes that this is a political issue or tries to make it a political issue, you need mental help. You
Amen.
honestly do.
Yeah, well said.
Because
well said.
There are babies, children, whole families that have been wiped off the face of the earth by a natural disaster.
Well, what's fascinating too, Tony, and thank you so much for the call and bringing this up. What's fascinating that the hashtag never CNNs of the world and these other disgusting leftist organizations are desperately attempting to turn this into Katrina, right? They're trying to blame Trump. And in doing so, they're pointing fingers at the National Weather Service saying they weren't ready. Or they're pointing fingers at the NOAA, they weren't ready, or some of the other forecasting agencies. Oh, this agency had this person missing, that person missing. The very people that they're pointing the finger at, they're going on their networks and saying, no, that's not true. These vacancies in no way impeded our ability to forecast this. It was forecast correctly. We told the people what the possibilities were, and we gave them ample opportunity to respond. Sadly, it was just a set of circumstances by which this happened in the middle of the night, and it happened with more ferocity than we anticipated. So the very agencies that they have to go through to step on in order to get to Trump are saying, no, that's not true. What you're saying didn't happen, in the form of politicizing the issue. More on that in a moment. Plus, Mike and Devin and Cheryl want to talk about Epstein. That would be Epstein, Jeffrey. We'll do that next as the Matt Murphy Show continues. Plus, Nincompoop's coming up around the corner. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The Tennessee Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center is an incredible organization in operation. Dr. Brian McLaughlin has taken over for Dr. Stephen Paas. Dr. Paas, at some point this month, I need to call and make sure I haven't missed the retirement party because he's retiring. And he provided decades of quality service to Middle Tennessee and the surrounding communities. And Dr. Brian McLaughlin continues that incredible dedication to service. They're in network with BCBS, Aetna, Cigna, United Healthcare, Medicare, TRICARE for the military. 2 locations to serve you in Brentwood and Murfreesboro. What are they? Well, if you don't sleep well, if you lack energy when you wake up in the morning, you feel like you might be waking up throughout the course of the night or may have been diagnosed with sleep apnea. There is an oral device that is FDA approved, that is custom fitted to your mouth, that can help you sleep better, help the airway stay open. You breathe throughout the course of the night. No more sleep apnea, no more snoring, better sleep, better you. Give a call today. Start the journey by going to TennesseeSleep.com. That's TennesseeSleep.com. Tell them Dr. Brian and the rest of the crew that Matt Murphy sent you to the Tennessee Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. I feel like we should have a Glock Store jingle of some sort. Glock Store, sell all the Glocks. Glock Store, sell all the Glocks. Something like that. I'll come. You know what? I'm going to work on it. I'm going to come up with something. Because Glock Stores sell all the Glocks. And when I say all the Glocks, I mean they're called the Glock Store, for goodness sake, right? You go over to Airlane Drive. It's just off Elm Hill Pike, minutes away from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere. And you'll see all the Glocks. Now, they call them PBGs, not to be confused with the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That is a plain black Glock. And they've got all of those, right, in any shape and size and caliber imaginable. But they also have factory-colored Glocks, competition-ready Glocks, rare and discontinued collectible Glocks, beautiful customized Glocks. They have a Glocksmith, if you will, right there on site. They have the Trump Glock. That's right. More than you can shake a stick at. Plus, they've got the shooting rooms. I mean, it's all right there at the Glock Store. Go by and see for yourself. Or go online to glockstore.com or shoot270.com to find out more. But when you stop in and say hello, make sure you tell them that Matt Murphy sent you to the one and only Glock Store.
Another SCOTUS win for the Trump administration, and learn more about one of the Republicans running for the 6th Congressional District, which John Rose is leaving so he can run for governor. These stories and more coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
8688 has written in on the Super Text line, which you're invited to do at any point, and said, why are you talking so much? God dang it. Why are you talking so much about Jeffrey Epstein? We need Mike Viagra for this new little piece that they put in here. 8688 writes in, why are you talking so much about Jeffrey Epstein? Or about Epstein is all he said. Because I believe in government transparency. Because I believe that we were promised in the new administration that we would see a movement toward transparency that would restore faith in institutions like the Department of Justice and like the FBI. Because many of us believe, I am one of them, that with so many children abused at the hands of Epstein and others, that there are others that have been involved. Many powerful people with a lot of money and a lot of influence were involved in some of the child peddling that happened under the watchful eye of Epstein and Maxwell. It's important. And I believe that there is somewhat of a cover-up going on, and I don't like that. I don't like it when powerful people get away with raping children. In fact, I'll just answer it that way. 8688, the reason that I'm talking about Epstein, I do not like it when powerful people get away with raping children. I hope that's good for you. Does that mean that I'm anti-Trump? Of course not. Does that mean that I believe he was in any way involved? Of course not. It doesn't. Devin is next. Hello, Devin.
Yep. Hey, Mr. Murphy. So I just had one question. I know, the federal government has, back when the mob was around, they gave out a lot of protective service. That you got a new house in Oklahoma or whatnot. Nobody knew your name. And why don't they do that with Maxwell? I mean, 20 years didn't sound like enough, but she should have all the information, so why not get her a house in Costa Rica, let her go, and get all the details?
I mean, at this point, I understand what you're saying, but at this point, who's to say she hasn't talked?
That's a good thought as well. But we just, the FBI, they're not releasing. We're not getting anything from them.
And that's what is so infuriating to me is that, you know what? Hold a press conference at very least. And Devin, God bless you. Thank you for the call. I'm sorry we're suspended on a little bit of time, but I got to get to the news. If there's somehow magically nothing that you can release, after you promised that you would release it. This is phase one. We got phase two coming. Oh, it's on my desk, and we're going to get it out, and all this other stuff. If somehow magically there's nothing releasable, hold a press conference. If you've got nothing to hide and nothing, hold a press conference and say, I'm going to stand here. If I'm Attorney General Matt Murphy, I'm standing in front of the podium and I'm telling you, there is nothing that I'm going to tell you that would compromise victims in this case. And there's nothing that we have that is releasable to you. But I'll stand here and I'll answer your media questions all day long. Go. And do it. Do it. It is 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Supreme Court allowing President Trump to move forward with an executive order mandating a restructure of federal agencies and mass layoffs of federal workers. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson was the only dissenter in the matter. Texas flood update. The death toll stands at 109, with 161 people missing in Kerr County alone. President Trump says he's going to visit the area on Friday.
We don't want to get in anyone's way because, that's what happens. The president goes and everyone's around focused on. I don't want anyone to focus on us.
Officials say they've searched 26 river miles since the 4th of July when the flood hit. They've had approximately 444 rescues, 30 recoveries. Trump administration says it's canceling contracts with foreign entities they consider adversaries when it comes to U.S. farmland. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins
actively engaging at every level of government to take swift legislative and executive action to ban the purchase of American farmland by Chinese nationals and other foreign adversaries.
Yeah, right now in Tennessee, the Tennessee Farm Bureau says foreign entities own about 2% of the state's available land, 422,000 acres out of 26.3 million acres. And right now in Tennessee, 4-term Goodlettsville State Rep Johnny Garrett, one of the Republicans running for the 6th Congressional District, which John Rose is leaving so he can run for governor. Garrett telling WTN's Matt Murphy today he wants to give back money to Tennesseans, which is why he supported the Big Beautiful Bill.
Absolutely would have voted for the Big Beautiful Bill. I mean, any opportunity that we get to return money back to Tennesseans is the right thing to do. We should continue to do that. And I don't want to speak for you what your consternation is with that Big Beautiful Bill, but my sense is that we didn't do enough.
Representative Garrett joins current Congressman John Rose's Chief of Staff Van Hillery, Republican Dale Braden, and Democrat Mike Crowley in seeking to replace Rose, who's running for governor in 2026. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, looking here in Davidson County, got a crash reported by police. This is going to be 440 eastbound near Nolensville Pike. TDOT says there's a crash in North Nashville, blocking the right lane, Briley Parkway eastbound at Dickerson Pike. Then we've got 140 westbound near Fessler's Lane. That's pretty much every day. Westbound Fessler's Lane, there's a crash there on I-40. Westbound 40 there at Fessler's Lane. Antioch got a crash 24 eastbound right before Harding Place. B&A got a crash 40 eastbound before Briley Parkway at 215. West End a crash 440 westbound at West End Avenue exit 1. Berry Hill got a crash 65 southbound before 440. In Laverne got a crash 24 eastbound near Old Hickory Boulevard. And then in Robertson County got a crash 65 southbound before Gallatin Cross Plains Highway 25 exit 112. That's traffic every 10 minutes every morning. A Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know, Eurofix is reliable when so many things are unreliable. And one of the points of reliability, the amount of people that they have on staff every single day at Eurofix. And I talk to you about it all the time. They just got a different business philosophy. They staff their locations with as many people as they need to fix the cars that they have on hand, but also to make sure that if you have an emergency pop up, they've got somebody ready for you to take care of that emergency. A right now appointment at an auto dealer shop. Imagine that. Some dealers can be more than 2 weeks out to get an appointment. Not so at Eurofix. Owner Aaron Stokes always says, we will never be too busy for our customers. We're here to take their pain away now, not tomorrow and not next week, but right now. They repair all European cars. They say yes to speedy recovery repair. They say yes to a 3-year nationwide warranty and yes to a loaner car as your car is getting repaired. Family owned for 26 years. Go to myeurofix.com or 844-EUROFIX. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy here for the Wellness Institute of Nashville, which has my, of course, seal of approval. And you know what? I made the switch, and I called Dr. Mitch and the Wellness Institute of Nashville because of my lower back pain, and it's been alleviated with spinal decompression. Well, this deal that I'm about to tell you it could truly change your life, especially if you're in immense pain. We call it the Big Daddy Trump Special. $12. $12. For a comprehensive examination, x-rays if needed, well-explained diagnosis, and your first treatment. Are you kidding me? Am I reading this right? I cannot possibly be reading this right. $12? It says $12 here. Is this a typo? $12, take advantage of what is obviously a typo on my page. Call the Wellness Institute of Nashville today. Talk to Dr. Mitchell or Dr. Ashley and say, Murphy said $12. $12 is $12. It is an initial consultation, comprehensive examination, x-rays if needed, and a diagnosis and first treatment for, once it says $12. 615-246-5009. That's 615-246-5009. Or go to painisbad.com. Once again, painisbad.com for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Hell of a special. All right, I'm going to get to one or two that have held for a long time before we get to Nincompoops. Nincompoops is on the way. We need a sponsor of Nincompoops. Don't y'all feel that way? I feel like we need a sponsor, a Nincompoops sponsor.
Yeah.
Can we do it on a daily basis?
Yeah.
I mean, people love. I had a guy yesterday hit me up on the old super text line. Ken, you know what he said?
What did he say?
He said, Murphy's a guy. I'm paraphrasing.
Okay.
But this is basically the tone. Murphy is abrasive. He yells too much. He's ego-driven. I can't stand him. But I love that Nincompoop's in the news. That's what he said. I feel like a sponsor wants to be a part of that. Hit me up on the super text line. Tell me if you want to sponsor to the Nincompoops.
Yes, sir.
And then maybe I'll get to it on time. But right now, I want to get to Cheryl real quick before we get to Nincompoops because she's been holding. Hey, Cheryl.
And I'm not a nincompoop.
You are not, Cheryl. You're not.
No, I am not.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, is there anybody out there that has said or is thinking like I think that, they don't give everything to the news. They're not going to do that. They're going to have to bring that before a judge what they find. They're definitely not going to tell the news media because they're stupid. They're the nincompoops. I'm not talking about you all, but I'm just saying, think about it. We've lived 4 years with Biden's trash. Everybody that has tried it's been absolutely ridiculous, but guess what? We had to live with that crap. And this presidency, at least these people are smart. And I think that they're not going to give away what they have until it's time to give it away. That's just all I want to say.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I want to believe that you're right. I do. I love this administration. I'm on record that I believe that Donald Trump has done more in the first 6 months of his second term than any second-term president did in their entire term in the history of the United States of America. So I'm a big fan. But
don't you think that they want to go after the people that have done this?
Then why,
yes, they do.
Well, then
and they want to do it correctly.
Then why aren't they saying what? I'm sorry.
Why are they saying what? Why are they saying what?
That's not what I said. I'll just wait until you're done. I'm sorry.
No, I'm done. I'm sorry. I'm good at trying to speak over people. I don't mean to do that. So maybe I am an nincompoop.
I'm too, and I'm trying to get better. Then why didn't they say that, Cheryl? That's not what That's not what they said. But because the government works for us, not the other way around, Cheryl. But
exactly.
all they have to say. Listen to me for just a second.
I will.
All they have to say is, our findings indicate that there are third parties that may be indicted, and we are not going to compromise that investigation. That's all they have to say.
I believe that. I believe that is exactly
that's not what they said. They said this case is closed.
I don't understand why it would be closed.
That's what they said. They said there are no third parties. They said that there is no information that would indicate that there are third parties that are indictable.
It's kind of strange. And
I know.
It is.
That
is strange. That is very strange. I haven't watched the news today, but I listen to you guys all the time when I drive. So that's like my best time to listen to you. So I just think that we just all need to take a deep breath and see what happens, because so far I don't believe Donald Trump has done anything wrong.
No, I don't think so either. And it's not a deal breaker for me. And the fact of the matter may be, and Cheryl, thank you so much for the call, and thank you for bearing with me, and I appreciate you so much. The fact of the matter is it possible that there's not a there? I don't feel like that's likely, but maybe. Mindy says, during the cabinet meeting today, Pam spoke about the files and the videos. We played it earlier, Mindy. Yes, we played that, where she said that it was all child porn, and nobody wants to see any of that. I find it fascinating that we're excusing non-transparency because it's a Trump administration. I'm just not going to do that. I'm not going to change my values and my beliefs because it's my team that's doing what I consider to be a little bit wrong. That doesn't mean that I'm cutting them off. That doesn't mean that I'm an enemy of the team. It is a matter of principles. And children were abused. And I believe that there were more people involved than just Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Do you? I believe that there were more people than those two people involved. Do you? Well, what we've been told by the Trump administration is that we don't have that evidence. And I just don't believe that. I believe something else is going on. I could be wrong. I believe that it's time for nincompoops in the news. I believe that. Maybe I'm the nincompoop. Maybe I'm the nincompoop. I know this. It is time to look all over these United States of America, the globe, and find these nincompoops and the nincompoopry that's going on before our very eyes and present it to you, the people of Middle Tennessee. And you get to vote on the nincompoop of the day between Jackson Williams, Ken Weaver, and Matt Murphy. We got 3 stories, and we got about, 7 minutes to tell it. Ken Weaver.
Yes, sir.
Ken Weaver?
Yes, sir.
I think you were the big winner yesterday.
All right.
In fact, I know you were. You know what that means?
What's that mean?
You get to go first.
You boys ready?
I'm ready.
This comes out of Powder Springs, Georgia. Naked woman taken into custody after SWAT standoff. 46-year-old woman identified as Nicole Simpson taken into custody Monday following a lengthy SWAT standoff at her Powder Springs home, where witnesses say she appeared nude in a window and allegedly assaulted a teenager earlier in the day. Ooh. One neighbor telling Fox 5 Atlanta, this whole street was flooded with police cars and eventually 2 SWAT trucks. It all started when 16-year-old Nolly Dominguez said she was walking in the neighborhood when Simpson began shouting at her from the window. She started screaming things like, oh, I voted for Trump. She was kind of blocking me from going anywhere. Dominguez says she ran to a friend's house where surveillance video captured Simpson allegedly trying to hit her with a rock. Slamming a gate on her, leaving marks on her arm. She tried continually knocking at my friend's door, trying to get in, Dominguez said. Then later, when Simpson was back in her own home, police used a flashbang device to get her to come outside. Flashbang. Witnesses said she was by the upstairs window, sticking up the middle finger, just naked. Witnesses said she finally exited the home, completely naked. Despite the bizarre circumstances, neighbors commended officers for resolving the situation safely, say they hopefully she gets the help she needs.
Hey, Jackson, how many times do you think Weaver said naked during that story? Like 28?
Enough times to probably win.
Enough times, that's right. Every time Ken Weaver says naked, an angel gets its wings.
I'm going to start calling it naked.
Naked. Well, that's right. The definition of naked, right?
Naked.
That means you naked is you don't have any clothes on.
Right.
Naked is you ain't got no drawers on.
Well, and you're up to something. Naked, you don't have any clothes on.
Yeah,
naked, you don't have any clothes on, and you're up to something.
Yeah, you're up to no good.
You're up to no good. All right, I'm going next, Jackson. This one involves the middle finger as well.
Goodness.
Apparently, the new darling of the Democrat left up there in New York City, that Zoran Mamdani. He doesn't. He apparently hasn't done the math as to how many Italian Americans there are in New York City, because several years it has now been discovered now that he is the front runner to become the next mayor of New York.
Wow!
It has been discovered that several years ago, there was a tweet sent out on Mamdani's Twitter account showing him flipping the bird to one Christopher Columbus in the form of a statue of good old Christopher Columbus and calling for its removal. The socialist Mamdani, crap, I'll get it right before he gets elected, is seen in front of in the tweet from June of 2020, giving the middle finger to the back of a towering figure in Astoria, which is part of his state assembly district. Mamdani, who was running for state office at the time, wrote as a caption, "Take it down." The tweet has left a bad taste in the mouth of Italian-American groups. I predicted this on the X Machine a couple of days ago when I saw the story that this is not going to bode well for his candidacy for Italian-Americans. And I just looked up the math. Italians make up 2.6 million voters in the greater metropolitan area. But if we're talking specifically about New York, 800,000 Italian Americans live in the 5 New York City boroughs. I bet many of them are Democrats, and I bet many of them don't like the idea of old Mamdani sticking the middle finger. Oh, I did it on camera. I'm sorry. Sticking the middle finger to their boy, Christopher Columbus. By the way, for those interested, LaGuardia Airport, LaGuardia and Kennedy, those are the 2 big airports in New York City. Mayor Fiorelli LaGuardia was mayor of New York City from 1934 to 1946. He was a Republican, and he was an Italian. There you go. Mamdani is my nincompoop. Your nincompoop, Jackson?
Mine comes out of Washington State. Suspect arrested with alleged explosive device, drugs, and a stolen gun tells deputies he's not under arrest. A call for a suspicious person loitering outside an abandoned bank led to a foot chase with police and ended in the arrest of that person who allegedly had an explosive and drugs on him. The Pierce County Sheriff's Office said the call went out on July 1st around 5 p.m. in University Place. Deputies saw a 42-year-old man lingering in the area that was marked no trespassing. They learned the man had a warrant out fur crest, and when they made contact with him, he ran off, leading deputies on a brief chase before he tripped, fell, and was put in handcuffs. On body cam video, while deputies were telling the suspect he was under arrest and reading him his rights, he repeatedly said, "No, I am not." Deputies said the man had drugs in his hand when he was cuffed and allegedly had a stolen gun on him. When deputies searched his backpack, they found an explosive device that looked like a firecracker.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So he's not under arrest.
Mm-hmm.
I think
despite what the people that actually do the arresting might tell him.
It was a Uno reverse card moment.
Maybe he's trying that Uno reverse. That's good, Jackson.
Actually,
I like that.
You're under arrest.
Yeah, Jedi mind trick. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. You're under. These aren't the droids you're looking for.
These aren't the drugs you're looking for.
These aren't the explosive devices you're looking for. That's how we do it. That's how we play Nincompoops in the news. I like that. Give me the little theme there. There you go. I like 4549 says, you guys should change the name of this to Nincompoops in the Nude. Not a bad idea. Stop voting for Ken until we go to break, everybody. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My friends J.K. and Erica Brister own and run U.S. Pest. They hire quality individuals. By the way, they're always looking for more employees. They're growing by leaps and bounds, and so they're looking for the next quality U.S. Pest employee. Find out more on their Facebook pages or go to uspest.com. But saying that, I'll say this. They're growing for a reason because they are the best when it comes to pest protection in Middle Tennessee. Whether it's full-service pest control from the usual suspects, you know the types that get out this time of year, ticks and fleas and roaches inside of the house and spiders and ants and silverfish and stink bugs and many, many more common Tennessee pests. Then there's termite protection. Termites threaten every home in the state of Tennessee. 100% money-back guarantee on both of those, and their crawl space service. Friends, they know two things at U.S. Pest. They know that they love the United States of America and that they hate bugs. It's time to eliminate them from your home, eliminate them from your yard. Call the best. Call U.S. Pest. USPest.com, USPest.com, or 590-1260, 590-1260. When couples walk into Genesis Diamonds, either location, Green Hills or Cool Springs, their eyes just get big. I mean, if you've never been, it is truly a mind-blowing display of incredible diamond jewelry with literally thousands of choices when it comes to engagement rings. All of the styles she's seen online are right there in the showroom. And the experts at Genesis make them feel totally at ease. It can be overwhelming, but for those experts, because they're not commissioned salespeople, they're simply there to help you find the right ring for you, the right bracelet for you, the right piece of jewelry for you for that special occasion in your budget. You get offered a beverage. You get asked questions about your taste, your style, your budget. They're given a no-holds-barred education on diamond buying. And then, you know what, if you want to go out into the world and visit other shops, you're invited to, because then they know you'll be back because they're the best. They have confidence in that. Friends, Genesis Diamonds, a true direct diamond importer with rock-bottom prices and a luxury experience. No compromises. Genesis Diamonds can be found in Green Hills and Cool Springs. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Genesis.
Breaking news. Fox News is reporting that a former CIA director and a former FBI director are under active criminal investigation. We'll tell you about it at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I got a guess. I got guesses.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
I do. I know. I'm not guessing.
Does it? Well.
I got a guess too, brother.
You got a guess? I bet your guess is better than mine. I bet you I could guess both of them.
I bet you can.
Does one of them begin with the last name begin with a B?
Yes, sir.
Does one of the last names begin with a C?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think my guesses are correct.
Brother.
I think my guesses are correct, and we'll wait for the top of the hour news. That's a professional tease, ladies and germs, as Ken Weaver gets ready for the news.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. The count is closer than I thought it would be, and it's really between Weaver and myself right now. You know what? I don't say Weaver and myself. It's between Ken Weaver's story and that Ma'am Danny. Ma'am Danny, somebody said Ma'am Danny, Man Donkey, whatever the hell his name is. He's the boob. Well, we'll tally these things up. He's a big old boob. We'll tally these things up and figure it out. In the meantime, let's get to Marie, who's been holding for some time. Hey, Marie. Hey, Marie. Ms. Marie? Hello? Marie going once. Marie going twice. Sold. Mike is next. Hey, Mike.
How you doing?
Good, Mike.
Hey, when you get you said your shoulder was replaced by the Chinese?
Yeah, I was kind of joking, Mike. I think actually,
I know you were.
Yeah. But yes.
But if your arm takes your steering wheel into a Chinese restaurant, well, then you'll know it's safe. But anyway,
that's true. Or if I feed my shoulder, if I feed my shoulder and it gets hungry 30 minutes later, that's another goal.
Yeah. Pam Bondi and Kash Patel need to be investigated. I'm going to make this quick because you're going the next hour.
Yes, sir.
Look. Donald Trump is being stabbed in the back again. He needs to nip this in the bud, bring Patel and Bondi in his office, say, you got 2 minutes. You either tell the truth or you're gone. Because this Epstein scandal is real. They're not going to be able to cover it up. And it's going to be another disgrace on our government and the DOJ and the FBI. I'm tired of this. Donald Trump needs to separate himself from this once and for all. Bondi and Patel need to go into the office tomorrow and say, we lied. We tried to cover up, and he needs to fire them. Get rid of the dead meat once and for all. But you know what? It's going to grow like a pimple into a boil if he doesn't do something.
Mike, pithy, and I love it. I love the passion of the call, too. And look, I don't know that we should fire people as of yet, but certainly get to the bottom of it and let the American people know exactly what that bottom entails. One more hour to go. Ken Weaver's newscast kicks it off. We'll find those names out. Plus, we'll take your telephone calls coming up. Medicaid discussion is still on the horizon. Plus, I have a loyal listener to the show that wants some advice because she's meeting with Representative Afton Bain tomorrow. We'll have that discussion and my advice to her coming up in moments on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Fox News Digital reporting former CIA Director John Brennan and former FBI Director James Comey are under criminal investigation. This is for potential wrongdoing related to the Trump-Russia probe, including allegedly making false statements to Congress. The death toll from the Texas flood has grown to 109, and we learned today that 161 people are still missing, and that's in Kerr County alone. Even in these terrible numbers, listen to what Lieutenant Colonel Ben Baker with the Texas Game Wardens announced today.
We've searched 26 river miles since the tragic event has started. We've had approximately 444 rescues, 30 recoveries.
President Trump says he's going there Friday. We just got another ruling from the U.S. Supreme Court. Stephen Portnoy says it allows the Trump administration to start implementing a plan to reduce the size of federal agencies.
The High Court's order allows the administration to move forward with sweeping plans to downsize federal agencies. A California-based district court judge blocked the effort in May, but now the Supreme Court says the administration is likely to succeed and arguing that the downsizing plans can at least be drawn up by agency heads. Whether the reductions in force will ultimately pass legal and constitutional muster would be subject to future court fights. Breaking from her colleagues at this stage, liberal Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson wrote a 15-page dissent.
Trump administration announcing what they say is a 7-point plan to secure U.S. farmland and farmers from foreign adversaries like China from having a stake in their operations.
American agriculture is not just about feeding our families, but about protecting our nation and standing up to foreign adversaries who are buying our farmland, stealing our research, and creating dangerous vulnerabilities in the very systems that sustain us.
Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins went on to say,
we have already canceled 7 active agreements with entities in foreign countries of concern and will continue to cancel additional agreements moving forward.
Right now in Tennessee, 4-term Goodlettsville State Rep Johnny Garrett is one of the Republicans running for the 6th Congressional District, which John Rose is leaving so he can run for governor. And Garrett tells WTN's Matt Murphy he would have voted for the big, beautiful bill because he says it gives money back to Tennesseans.
That's why I'm doing this. That's why I want to be a conservative fighter and try to pass President Trump's agenda, because I don't think he's done.
Representative Garrett joins current Congressman John Rose's Chief of Staff Van Hillary, Republican Dale Braden, and Democrat Mike Crowley in seeking to replace Rose, who again is running for governor in 2026. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Metro Police reporting a crash 440 eastbound near Nolensville Pike. Then on the South Loop downtown, police say there's a crash 40 eastbound at 4th Avenue. That's going to be exit 210C going eastbound. And over by the airport, police say there's a crash 40 eastbound right before exit 215. Then another crash, still working, 40 westbound near Fessler's Lane. In Brentwood, got a crash over on the shoulder, 65 northbound at Old Hickory Boulevard. In Antioch, police say there's a crash 24 eastbound before Harding Place. And in Laverne, a crash 24 eastbound near Old Hickory Boulevard. Back here in Nashville, the West End, police say there's a crash 440 westbound at exit 1. And then in Berry Hill, got a crash 65 southbound right before I-440. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, kids. Final hour of the Matt Murphy Show starts right now. Super Talk 99.7. Well, it's already started. I mean, Ken Weaver's already delivered the news. You've heard from a couple of our wonderful advertisers, and now me. 8 minutes after the hour. Thank you for being around. Whatever time you're able to give us, we're appreciative of that. I've discovered in the first 2 days since I got back from my surgical procedure, my shoulder replacement, my arthroplasty, if you will. One of the more difficult aspects of doing this gig is, one, I'm a hand talker and I can't talk with that hand. Number two, I got to sit funny, and it kind of janks up my back, and so that's a little weird too. But what am I complaining? No, I get to spend a day with you, an afternoon with you, having great conversation. I absolutely love it. I adore it, and I thank you for being a part of our day. Now, another complaint that I may have is that I don't believe that I'm getting a sympathy vote any longer because I did the math, and Jackson, I'm sad to report that you were in third place. You got your share of votes.
Way to go, Brother Jackson.
Got your share of votes. But it was a horse race between Murphy and Weaver today.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Who won?
Horse Weaver. He was the first to the horse farm. Congratulations to Ken Weaver. Big nincompoops victory for you, Ken.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.
It's been a minute and a half. As a matter of fact, it's been a day. It's 2 in a row.
Well, yeah. I went 2 weeks. I was on a 2-week drought.
Well,
it just wasn't happening.
Back on top of it, my friend, and I love seeing it. So there you go. Big win for Ken Weaver on nincompoops in the news. So I've loved catching up on some of the bigger news stories of the cycle, including during the time that I had off, including the number of people that are coming out and running for the 7th Congressional District now that there will be a special election. Now, I'm going to, pardon the pun, I'm going to target Trey Hargett, the Secretary of State. And we will have Trey on. I know his folks over in his office. Trey's a good friend of the show, and I want to have him on probably as soon as tomorrow. I want to know what are the rules of the special election, because I don't know if it's a free-for-all. I don't know if it's a one-off. I believe that you win a special election by, a basic majority of the vote. So if there's 8 people in the race, if you win by, if you have 20% of the vote and that's the winning margin, you get the vote, you win. I don't know if it is a Democrat and a Republican primary, and then eventually we get to a runoff or a general. I don't think that's the case. Here's the reason I bring this up. What have we said? 5 Republicans are in the race in the 7th Congressional District, and now 2 Democrats have joined the fray. So if my fear is if this is a one-off, if this is a winner-take-all deal and there's no political party affiliation associated with this special election. And admittedly, y'all, I don't know what the rules are. That's why I say I will get Trey Hargett on, the Secretary of State in the state of Tennessee's overall elections, and he's going to be able to help us understand how the rules of the road go. And I could be wrong in my analysis, but if this is a come one, come all, and the biggest vote getter takes the seat, do y'all know where I'm going with this? Is it possible that a solidly Republican district, if all of these Republicans split their votes and all the Democrats get behind one candidate, could a Democrat win this thing? Meaning if there are 6 Republicans and 2 Democrats, and let's say that, nobody cares about Bo Mitchell and everybody likes little Afton Ben, the cutest little communist in Tennessee. If everybody gets behind, every Democrat that votes in that district votes for Afton Ben, and all the Republicans are split, she'd win if there's no party voting prior to the special / general. I'm going to find out. I'm going to find out the answer to that question. But just 4 days before she filed paperwork to run as a Democrat for the upcoming special election in the 7th Congressional. I mean, I'm almost positive there would be primary elections and then those 2 candidates would face off together, but I don't know. 8726 says that's the case. Okay, good. I mean, I'm glad. If that's true, they'll have to primary and then go into the general. One way or the other, I think Afton Ben will probably come out of that primary because she's such a cute little communist. The Democrats of Dixon County said that she was the AOC of Tennessee. Kind of rhymes, doesn't it? Well, she's running. Bo Mitchell's running. Speaking of Afton Ben, cutest little communist in Tennessee, Kathy joins us on the show right now. Hello, Kathy.
Hey, Matt.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thanks for coming on and talking about this with us.
Well, thank you for letting me on.
So you told me, and I thought this would be very interesting to the rest of the audience. You told me that you're a constituent of Afton Baines, right?
Yes, unfortunately.
And you, in the aftermath of her trying to out ICE and all of that brouhaha that went on when ICE and THP got together and tried to stop some criminal behavior, you reached out to her via email, I guess?
Yes.
And what did you say to her?
I told her that I did not agree with her interfering with ICE agents that were making our community safer by removing dangerous criminals. I said I would do whatever I could to make sure she didn't get reelected and that she should be criminally charged.
So she responded to you, right?
She did.
And tell me what she said.
Basically, she said no one's above the law. That includes ICE and THP. She said that law-abiding people, some of them legal residents, were stopped and detained without legal counsel, without due process. She said essential workers, parents, even a pregnant woman. And she said that she would protect every person in her district, regardless of race. And so that's basically it.
And so tomorrow, you told me that she's getting together with you. She agreed to sit down and meet with you.
She did, yeah.
So you guys are getting together for, coffee or whatever, just to kind of talk about her position on this issue and all of that.
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. So this would be my advice to you, Kathy, and take it for what it's worth. But if I were speaking to Afton right now, I would start here. I would say, look, I know that you and I probably disagree with what our immigration policies are in the United States. And obviously you disagree with how Donald Trump has done things. But let me ask you this, Representative Bain. Should there be rules how immigrants get into the United States? You understand the question?
Mm-hmm.
Just whatever those rules are, and I don't want to talk about what those rules are, but do you believe that there should be some rules by which people get into the United States? And there's really only two ways to answer that, yes or no. And you're not asking her what those rules are. I'm not asking you what the rules are. I'm just asking you, should there be rules? And I feel like she has to say, if she says no, then understand that you're dealing with an insane person. Because only an insane person would believe that there should not be a basic process by which people immigrate. So okay, so there should be rules. And I want to talk to you about what those rules should be in a minute, but let me ask you this, Afton, or Representative Bain. If there should be rules, then what do you do to the people who break them? Because if the answer is nothing, then the rules mean nothing. So should there be rules and a process by which people get here? And if so, what do you do to the people who break the rules? And see what she says.
Okay.
Because I don't understand what her answer would be. I mean, do you find them? Do you send them back home? Do you put them to the back of the line? Because if you have to put them behind the people that are following the rules. Otherwise, you're encouraging people not to follow the rules. So I would just be very curious to find out what Afton's answer to those questions would be.
Yeah.
And then, ask her what she thinks those rules should look like. Is it anybody gets in that wants to come, or should there be a vetting process? Ask her what she thinks we should do. 80% of the individuals that have been detained through the ICE raids in Tennessee have had a criminal history. 80% of those that are here illegally have also committed an additional criminal act. Ask her if she believes that those people should be allowed to stay on the streets, considering that they commit crimes against their fellow immigrants.
So what do you think about what she's saying about people that have been detained without due process, people who were here legally? I mean, I'm not sure I buy that, because, if they're here legally, then they shouldn't have any trouble proving that they're here legally.
No, I would want further information about that. I don't think that she has it. If people have been detained by ICE and they demonstrate that they are here legally, those people are released back into their community because ICE has nothing to do with them. So I would want the receipts, as they say, Kathy, on those individuals. I would say, well, I would need to see that, because it's my understanding that those detained are only those that are unable to demonstrate their legal status in the United States of America. And I don't believe she has those receipts. I think she's just talking out of an orifice that is not her mouth, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, because, I believe that if there were people, that we would be hearing about it on every single news report.
Well, of course. Of course. Right. So, if those people exist, who are they? How does Afton know that these people, I would almost guarantee you that she's getting that information from advocacy groups that are getting that information from community people that are not being truthful. Let me promise you this. If Immigration and Customs Enforcement encounter an individual and they present documentation that demonstrates their legal status, they're not locking those people. Now, there might be mistakes, and we grant that. And you know what? You try to limit them. You want them to be zero, but are there maybe some mistakes? Sure. I will grant you that certain mistakes happen. But as far as due process goes, The word "do" is the most important word in that phrase. And an American citizen is due more process than an illegal alien. An illegal alien, if they are unable to demonstrate their legal status, they are due process through an immigration court. And that involves an appearance at immigration court and a determination whether or not they are legally here or if they have a legal claim to stay. And if they are not legally here, then they move on to question 2. Question 2 is, do you have a legal justification to remain in the United States of America? And you can claim asylum, but that is a process that you have to start before you go before the court. You can claim that you're going to be injured or harmed in some way if you're sent back to your country of origin. There are a few claims that you can make in that process, but if your claims are turned down by an immigration judge, that's your process. That's it. 2 questions. Are you legally here? Yes or no? The answer is yes, you get released. If the answer is no, then we go on to question 2. Do you have any legal remedy to stay? And if the answer to that question is no, then you get sent home. I'm just trying to be quiet, Kathy, because I don't want to talk too much.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just waiting. Not sure if you were finished or not.
No, I was done. So does that give you a good starting point on the conversation?
It does. I appreciate that.
Well, I would be really just, and I would, and obviously I know you, Kathy. We've met over the years at station events, and I know that, you're going to do great. But I would just, does Afton believe that there should be rules how to get into the country, just basic rules to get in? And if so, what do you do to the people who break the rules? Do you let them stay? Do they have to go to the back of the line? Do they have to go back home? What do you do to those people? What time tomorrow are you meeting, basically?
8:30.
Oh, call me. Let me know how it goes. Hit me up, okay?
Okay.
Anything else you need?
No, thanks. I appreciate your help.
Kathy, that's good. I love it. I love that. You know what? I'll give her credit, and thank you, Kathy, for the call. I give credit to Afton Bay, and she's meeting with a constituent, and Kathy, I want to know how it goes. I hope those are good pieces of advice. Also, you should ask, Sally has a good point. You should ask Afton what detain means. Is that an indeterminate amount of time? 24 after the hour on Super Talk. If you're trying to make a decision right now whether to repair or replace your AC unit, it can be a toughie. And I understand that. And Jeff Eddy of Efficient Heating and Cooling understands that too. Get a tech from Efficient Heating and Cooling out, or Jeff himself sometimes comes. And let them sit down with you and walk through the unit, give it an examination, and then they can give you an expert piece of opinion. Whether it's a first opinion or a second opinion, they are the opinion experts when it comes to these things. Because, one, they're never going to advise you to get a new unit unless you absolutely have to. And they'll explain to you why it's time to get that new unit if it has come time. And if it's come time, they have financing available. They're an Elite Pro partner with Ream. They can make a selection that's going to be right for you and your family. Go by Efficient Heating and Cooling's website at efficienthvac.net. That's efficienthvac.net, or call 615-784-4424. 784-4424 for our friends at Efficient. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy and you. Hello, 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 hello. Glad to have you with us on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 28 after the hour, we'll get to Ken Weaver in the newsroom momentarily. Marie, we'll get to you on the flooding. Your calls as well, 615-737-9986. Super text line is hopping as always. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, hopping as always. Give us a like, give us a thumbs up, give us a subscribe, will you? 2805 on the super text line. Why do you have to coach this person up? Because she asked me to. Kathy's a great listener to the show. She is a loyal listener to the show, fabulous person, very unassuming, and got audience with her representative with whom she disagrees mightily on the issue of immigration and otherwise. And she asked my advice, and she asked via email, and I asked her because I thought it would be educational for the rest of the audience, I asked her if she would mind calling in and we could have that conversation on air, and she agreed. So she asked. That's all. Marie is next. Hey, Marie, how are you?
Matt, love your show, and you're so professional, and just love your show.
Thank you.
Yes, I agree, Matt. When you say about the Epstein, and not just the Epstein, the entire world is full of pedophilia, the rape of children, the molesting of children, from our schools to our counselors to our priests. It's everywhere, and we need somebody to stand up, a very large figure, to stand up and be the voice for all the children and the adults now that are adults that were those children. And then, and no one, I don't see any leaders with that. And you're right, Matt. Every single child counts. And the rape, yes, we do want to know. We want to know not just Epstein. We want to know every single person that has laid a hand on a child to harm them with molesting and raping. And it is going on at rampant speed. And no one is holding anybody accountable for this. And we really need some leaders to just take on that. Nothing else. Just be the voice for the children and let men, women, everyone know you hurt a child and you are going away for a very, very, very long time. And that is it. And also one other comment, Matt. When you have a camp that has been going on like Mystic for these many years, and you have that many children under your watch, I do not care what time of night or day, you have to have people that are on watch. I am in healthcare, and I have shifts that are 13, 14 hours that I stay awake the whole time because I am responsible sometimes for children that are in need or elderly that are in need. And if I feel that I can't be awake or I'm feeling sleepy, I have another person on watch with me that can take over. There should have been many people on watch.
Agreed.
And there wasn't.
Well, I said earlier, not on the show, but I was talking to someone about this before the show, and there are people who made decisions that were paid for dearly in Camp Mystic, and I fear that the director of that camp made some mistakes, and he paid for them with his life. I mean, because the director of the camp died, and you know what? I mean, it's a hard statement to make, but it's true. Secondarily, because I got to go to the news, but I'll say this, Marie, if we were living in Murphy world, the forcible rape of a child 12 or under carries the death penalty. Period.
Yes.
That's where I'm at on that. And because I do not believe that anyone that is convicted of forcibly raping a child is redeemable in any fashion whatsoever. Child at or under the age of 12. That's where I would put it. I'm late. It's 32 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Satan knows Scripture better than some Christians, and for that reason should be respected because he has centuries of experience in deceiving and tempting people. Satan understands our human nature and our motivations. Satan has the power to plant thoughts in our minds if we allow it through ignorance. John 13:2, during supper, the devil having already put into the heart of Judas Iscariot, the son of Simon, to betray him, that being Jesus, Satan can possess non-believers as well. Luke 22:3, and Satan entered into Judas, who was called Iscariot, belonging to the number of the 12. Satan actually tries harder on Christians because Christians become his enemies when we accept Christ as our Savior. The best news, Christians share in Jesus' victory since he defeated Satan's power on the cross. John 16:33, these things I have spoken to you so that in me you may have peace. In the world you may have tribulation, but take courage. I have overcome the world. Scan to learn more.
All right, friends, so Stoaltzko has been around for a long time now in Middle Tennessee, and they've been doing quality work since their inception. Allow Stoaltzko to build that high-quality, customized structure at a very reasonable price on your property. If you're looking to buy property for a barn dominium, or perhaps you own property and you're looking to build a garage, an equestrian space, a pole barn, or an event space, there's only one that you'll hear me recommend, and that's Stoaltzko. They do it all. You can be as involved in the project. You can be your own GC if you want to be with Stoaltzko. But you can also give Stoaltzko the vision that you have, let them go to work, and they'll come back and hand you the keys when they are done with the project. They'll do it all, or they'll let you be as involved as you want to be. But everything they do is of the highest quality imaginable and available in Middle Tennessee. Contact Stoaltzko at 615-622-5992, 622-5992, or go online at stoaltzco.com. That's STOLTZCO.com. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Stoaltzko. Friends, this is Matt. My buddy Jackson threw me under the bus a minute ago. You did. You threw me under the bus. I have your back, and you threw me totally under the bus. One way or the other, I'll tell you who will never, ever, ever throw you under the bus when it comes to your health insurance, and that is Shane Ring at Cover Nash. He's located right here in Middle Tennessee. That's important. A local expert when it comes to not only opting into health plans, but also becoming educated about what plans you need and how much coverage you really should have. When you book your appointment with Shane, it's nice because he can go over all of the available health plan options on the market today. He does not work for a health insurance company. He works for you, and that's going to save you money, bottom line. Help you shop for coverage based on your health, your financial needs. No more call center agents wasting your time. No more bills that you were never told that you were going to get. With Shane Ring at Cover Nash, he will teach you how you can benefit from your health plan by shopping the market in real time. I've sat down with Shane in Shane's office. I've seen him do his work, and he's incredible. Go to coverdash.com. That's coverdash.com, or call them today. 615-465-0023. 465-0023 for Cover Nash. All right, we've had a spate. So you say the prank callers are after you?
I had to find my mic button there.
They're just a man, oh man. You know, Jackson, may I say something?
What's up?
You and I are buddies. We're friends. We're
We
pals.
are friends.
I feel like there may be a little struggle bus going on today. Just a little, not a lot.
Not a ton. Just the last 20 minutes or so.
Okay. I mean, we're all kind of sliding down the hill toward 7 o'clock. But a struggle bus, the last thing we need if both you and I are sitting on the struggle bus are prank callers.
Yeah, just calling and then hanging up immediately.
Because they think it's funny.
You know how many times I've said WTN in the past 20 minutes?
Probably a lot.
WTN?
Mm-hmm.
Clicko.
Well, maybe if you didn't take the callers off, like Ray, who has written in, and I think, see, I'm not one to stir up trouble.
Oh, really?
I'm not a pot stirrer. I'm not.
Since when?
I'm not a master baiter. Those are two words. I'm a problem solver. I'm a mediator. I try to help people. And so I want to help you and Ray out because I think you and Ray, there was a bit of confusion because Ray's written in and he said, I tried calling in and I told Jackson to tell you that I vehemently disagree with you, LOL, to get to the front of the line. And he said, okay, I'll tell him. And then he hung up.
I thought he did not say the front of the line part. He just said, tell Matt whatever that word is, disagree with him.
Right.
And so I was like, all right, cool. I'll let him know.
I think Ray was testing you because I probably haven't told you this yet, but disagreement automatically goes to the front of the line. And you put disagrees with you, and then I pick that person first because I love those types of discussions. And Ray in Jackson's defense, if you said, hey, tell Murphy. See, we have so many people that call the radio show. The call-in line is for on-air callers. And I love y'all, and I love your participation. I love you giving us a text on the super text line. But if you utilize the 615-737-9986 number, the expectation is you're going on the air. But how many calls do you get daily that say, I don't want to go on the air, but?
Between sports and here?
A lot.
It's probably 20 to 30.
I don't want to go on the air, but. And, we want you to go on the air. So in Jackson's defense, he gets a lot of those. And so if you started the conversation with, hey, tell Matt so-and-so and such and such, he probably assumed that you were just one of those, I don't want to go on the air people. So Ray, love you a long time. Call us back at another time because we've got the phones on hold right now because there's so many of these kids that are calling, is your refrigerator running? You got Prince Albert in a can. We do have Jeremiah on the line, though. Hey, Jeremiah.
Hello, thank you for taking my call. I want to thank you for being a righteous defender of kids who are always molested. I wanted to say this. In 1987, I caught a in-law of mine molested my 5-year-old son. I killed that man, and I served 18 years in a penitentiary here in the state of Tennessee for that. And during that period of time in prison, what I discovered horrified me even more. The Tennessee Department of Corrections coddles sex offenders and child molesters to a degree that would make you sick. And what I found was that teachers, preachers, counselors, and Boy Scout leaders were the highest members of the child molestation career choices.
Oh, wow.
And it just makes me sick to my stomach. Now, I lost what happened to my son, destroyed his life. He's 44 years old, and he's still a basket case. I'll never regret what I've done, but what I seen, the Department of Corrections further horrify the reality of child molesting. It just makes me sick, man. And so you keep on defending the safety and security of kids. You'll never regret it. I have never regretted it, man.
Jeremiah, you said hold on before you go. You said you served 18 years?
Yeah, they gave me 20 years for second-degree murder, and I served 18 calendars.
How old was your and I don't mean to be too personal, but how old was your boy when this happened?
5 years old.
Yeah. I'll say this. It gives me chills. Jeremiah, if I was on that jury, you wouldn't have been convicted with me on the jury. I'll tell you.
Well,
I'll tell you that. You just wouldn't have, because I would have nullified the crap out of that jury. If it is demonstrated that, you know, did you see it, or did you find out about it later?
I caught him. It was what I was working. I dove for mussel shells for a living, and I was putting a new prop on my boat motor. Mm-hmm. I had grease on my hands, and normally I would have walked around the front of the mobile home we lived in, walked up on the steps, and went inside to get me a cigarette. I had just fed a half hour previous. I just fed my 2-year-old and put him to bed, and my 5-year-old was up watching TV with this in-law of mine. And instead of going up the steps, I just went around the front of the porch. I was going to tell either Jesse, my son, or Gilbert to throw me a cigarette and a lighter. Mm-hmm. Well, because I did that, if I'd have went up the steps, he would have heard me and he would have stopped what he was doing. I never would have caught him. But because I went around the front of the porch, the front door was open. I happened to see what he was doing. That's how I caught him.
Oh, my God.
And needless to say, man, I didn't show him any mercy, and neither did the system didn't show me any either, man.
Jeremiah, God bless you in your defense of your son, and God bless you for your attitude about this. And I pray for your son that he finds some.
I was going to ask you to. Thank you, man, because it destroyed him. It literally destroyed him, man. He's 44, and he's a basket case, man.
Well, I pray for him, and I pray for you, buddy.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you for the call. Jury nullification runs outside of the concept of the rule of law, but it is a fact that if you are seated on a jury and you find that the law in front of you prevents you from doing what you believe is morally right, then you just say to hell with it and you nullify that jury. And that's what I would have done. In that case, if we have all the details of that case as Jeremiah described it, and I have no reason to believe that we don't. 1733, I think he said he was convicted in Tennessee. Brian says, I applaud you, Jeremiah. Dan says, God bless you for defending your son. Absolutely, 100%. It reminds me of a case out in Texas that happened fairly recently that a man encountered. He was looking for his daughter, couldn't find his daughter. His daughter was like 10 or 11. I don't know the age. I might have it wrong. But it was like 9 or 10 or 11. And he found a man raping his daughter, and he beat that man to death. And a jury, I think it was a grand jury, or it might have even been a prosecution, they declined to bring charges against him, saying that no reasonable father would have done anything differently than this individual did. I mean, I cannot fathom it, Jeremiah. But I appreciate you calling in and being willing to share your story. I'm on record as saying I do not believe that, and I don't want to get caught up in where I set the age, because I understand that 13, 14. I mean, I'm just telling you, if an individual is convicted of a forcible rape of someone under the age of 12, I believe that should be a eligible for the death penalty. I do not believe that if you forcibly rape a child, that we can redeem you. Do not believe it. I do not believe there's any redemption for you on this earth. That is my belief. Gosh, I promised Medicaid, and I haven't gotten to it yet. But I can cover it in 3 minutes. But that's 3 minutes that happen right after this on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. On New Shackle Island Road in Hendersonville, there is a shop that everyone needs to visit over the summer and into the fall. It's Volunteer Outfitters. You hear me talking Volunteer Outfitters all the time. Absolutely love this group. Tommy and his team are top-notch, and they've got the name brands that you love, like Huck, Drake, and so Bandit, and so many others. They have team colors, by the way. I mean, I bought a Georgia-styled shirt. Last time I was there, it was nice. Didn't have the G on it, but because they don't have the licensed apparel there. There's something with Georgia, but they've got Tennessee, they've got Alabama, they've got LSU. I've seen lots of different colors, lots of different team apparel, a lot of volunteer gear, obviously, but something for every taste at Volunteer Outfitters. If you're out and about and want to stop by, they're on New Shackle Island Road. Why pay city prices when you can pay Volunteer Outfitter prices with all of the great name brands? Volunteer Outfitters, New Shackle Island Road. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you.
Pastor and author J.C. Ryle once said, contrary to popular belief, hell is not a place God sends only the worst of the worst. Hell is our default destination. What that means is we need someone to save us, or we stand before God condemned to hell. But we cannot save ourselves. Only God can do that. Ephesians 2:8 and 9 says, for by grace you have been saved through faith, that not of yourselves, it is the gift of God, not as a result of works, so that no one may boast. Jesus Christ placed all believers' sins upon himself and died to pay for those sins. Why did he have to die, though? Because Scripture explicitly says the wages of sin is death. Wages means the same as payment, so payment for sin is death. There are no second chances to accept Christ and avoid hell after you die. So if you feel a prompting in your heart, it may be God drawing you. Scan the QR code to learn more.
Oh, yeah, winding down our time together. Hey, you know, Jackson, you probably don't know this, but
I don't know lots of things.
Do you know who, according to the newspaper, the Tennessean, you know the newspaper, the Tennessean?
That was delivered to my house when I was a child.
Mm-hmm. Believe it or not, I think they still print it from time to time.
Oh, really?
They're online as well. They have this annual Best of Music City awards thing.
Did we win?
Well, last year, guess, just take a wild guess, who won Radio Personality of the Year? No, not Ron Slay and 3HL.
I'm going to go.
No, not Dan Mandis.
How'd you know?
I'm
going to say Chris Hand.
Not Mr. Hand, not even Chad Benson. You're looking at him, buddy boy, Matt Murphy. According to the Tennessean, or readers of the Tennessean, I was the Radio Personality of the Year in 2024.
Attaboy, Murphy.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
It's all downhill from here.
That and $6 will buy me a cup of coffee at some local coffee shop. So this year, I see that they are collecting nominations for this year's categories. And they do all kinds. They do like best real estate agent, best barber shop, best radio station, best radio personality, best TV weather person, best pizza place, best, place to go and neck, whatever.
What about best interim executive producer? Is that a category?
I do not believe that's a category because here's what I'm about to tell you. Although you would win, hands down.
Yeah.
Matt Murphy has retired the category. They have eliminated the radio personality category. I think I ruined them. They're like, if this schmucko, this small L libertarian loudmouth, the jerkwad, egomaniacal, nonsensical, whatever, can win this thing, we don't need to do it. I'm not kidding. There's no category for radio or television personality of the year this year that I can find.
Who retired it on the TV side?
I think it was Danielle Breezy.
Okay.
Weather person Danielle Breezy. But we have ruined the category. It's like being dating a girl and she tells you that she's not dating guys anymore. She's going to play for the other team. You know what I mean? I had a roommate in college.
Okay, what an analogy.
That happened to a roommate of mine in college. He's like, I don't know whether to be honored or to be horribly insulted that I'm so bad at what I did, she's going for the other team, or she feels like she's reached the pinnacle of manhood and can have none other.
It's definitely the other one.
I think it's definitely the other. I think it's the other one for me, too. I think they looked around and go, okay, we can't cheat. We have to give Murphy his due.
Did you get a trophy?
I got like a piece of paper that said congrats.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Was it printed on a Tennessean paper?
I think it was suitable for printing and
was it nice cardstock?
Well, you could get nice cardstock if you did it yourself,
Oh.
You had to, I think that's all up to you. I never printed it. I think I have it somewhere in an email.
Oh, it was just an email?
Announcing my victory. And now, no more category. Retired the damn category, did I?
Hey, nobody can. You're the reigning champion forever.
That's exactly right. They'll never be able to take that away from me. Legend has written in and said, hey, it's Legend. I have a question. What happened to Chris Webber? Thank you for asking. Chris, after the graduation of his son, he is originally from Georgia in the Columbus area. And he and his wife decided after many, many years in the Nashville, Tennessee area to move back and live closer to his parents who are getting a little up in age now that his son has graduated from high school. And they've done so. They built on the family property, and they live in and around the Columbus area. So he decided to move back home, said he was not getting into radio. So we are left with Jackson. And it's my understanding we have Jackson for the better part of the summer.
Yeah, going to be hanging out with you guys for a while.
That's nice. Might lose him to football season, but it remains to be seen.
TBD.
I'm using my manly wiles to try to reel you in. You know how that goes. Friends, I've had a good time. I hope you've had a good time. Thank you for indulging me. I know I didn't get a Medicaid. It will wait until tomorrow. I promise you. Mark Levin is up next. I want you to have a wonderful evening. Hug your loved ones. Take care. So long, everybody.